Hey everybody, welcome to Myopia Movies. This week we are talking Coen Brothers, and we will be continuing Coen Brothers into the next month until October. Now, I know for those old-timers who have listened to the show for years now, know that generally we do bad movies unless specifically stated otherwise. This is one of those months because I love the Coens, and I had a blast recording this. And we're starting with one of my favorite movies of all time, The Big Lebowski. I was the right age and the right place to see it, to love it, to imbibe it. And, it was a hell of an episode, so stay tuned. Anyway, thanks for all you do to keep us on the charts. Thanks for listening, subscribing, and sharing. And enjoy. Bye, everybody. Welcome to Myopia Movies. This week we're talking about 1998's The Big Lebowski, where all the women I know got their fashion since COVID. I am your host, Nick Hoffman, and on panel tonight we've got...
Candace.
Stevo.
Keiko.
Atlanta author Matthew W. Quinn. Have you ever helped a stranger in the Alps?
I literally forgot about that until right now. What a stupid dumb over.
Matt, say something again really quick.
Have you ever helped a stranger in the Alps, Nick?
You are not being...
Well, they filmed it so knowing that so they could plug it in as needed.
Yeah.
Just say your intro again.
Atlanta author Matthew W. Quinn. Have you ever found a stranger in the Alps?
No,
Yes. Yes, I have.
No, now say your question. Is that the worst dub there's ever been?
It's the worst. Is that the worst dub there's ever been?
If you have not seen it, Die Hard 2, at the beginning, John McClane is wearing a sandwich board that is I hate N-words. And on the edit, they Photoshop it out with a different font, and it says I hate everybody. That...
They literally just it's like a paint, just superimposed, just get it, that's great.
Like an intern at TBS himself had to paint it out frame by frame.
Yeah, I imagine everyone that aired it did their own it wasn't I think that's actually really interesting that you say they actually recorded it to include in this movie, but how many now there's a rabbit hole I need to explore. I mean, how many
of course.
How many of these edits were they weren't baked into the movie. There's no artifacts that they can just dub over, so the stations themselves had to figure it out. They're just all right, man.
Oh no, I remember watching, I forget, TNT, whatever, some mainstream movie channel, and it was just yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon was the line. Yeah. And it's literally yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. Mr. As there was just a dude in the editor's booth just reading
Paging Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, baby Mr. Herman.
I remember the Alamo. Okay, so we, of course, are here to talk about... So, as we were... I went to a comedy show with some friends the other night. A friend of the show, Daniel's wife, brings up that in college, this movie was every boy's personality in the early 2000s. I, of course, made the joke that this is how my wife dressed during COVID because the dude is just wearing pajamas, pants, a t-shirt, and a cardigan.
To make it nice.
It seems very comfortable. If it wasn't 90 degrees outside, I would have done the same thing.
So, Nick, in college, which one were you?
I was the dude, 100%. And I'm funny because I didn't really smoke weed in college. That happened later when my life became what it was. But I did. So I was telling Steve-O this. I was in marching band or jazz band in high school, and we played in bowling shirts. And I have a bowling shirt that says "the dude" on the breast because I was that guy who decided to make this his personality, which is a lot. It was
the answer is everybody who watched this in their youth identifies with the dude.
100%.
But now that we've all recently rewatched it, most people do not still identify with the dude.
No, he's a loser.
You identify as someone else now, and I think we should talk about that at the end. Who do you identify with?
Oh my God.
I thought about this. I had a whole talk with
the man in the iron lung.
Yeah.
The guy that peed on the rug.
It's an honor to meet you.
I'm the guy that peed on the rug that made a rash decision and maybe regretted it, but just committed to it.
Oh, maybe
at least you weren't one of the nihilists.
No, literally,
I thought about that.
Based on my friendships with people,
I'm the Jesus's bowling partner. Just this normal dude with outrageous people around him. Because he's just a dude with a high and tight.
I want to be Bunny. I just want to marry a rich guy.
Any suggestions?
You're Donnie.
Okay, at least I'm not Walter, screaming
Matt,
at
you're
people.
like a child who's walked into a movie every time.
God help me.
Is anyone here Walter?
Yeah, I can see.
Luckily,
Yeah.
no, but I know some Walters.
I know some Walters.
I know some Walters. I mean, like
Everyone knows a Walter.
Walter's got his morals and he hates humanity. Like we can all empathize with that perspective, right?
I mean,
Everyone likes Walter till Walter's too much.
Exactly.
And then you're like, oh, God.
I mean,
if you're being harassed by some angry Germans, he comes in handy.
Yeah.
Well, but the answer is too, I would imagine a lot of the time we're all just Brent. People are nonsense is happening, and you're just like, that's wonderful.
Which one is Brent?
He's
the assistant.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
The employee.
I just work here.
The Big Lebowski's minion.
We're all very fond of her here.
Yeah.
Dude, when Tara Reid looks at the camera and goes, "I'll suck your cock for $1,000," and he just goes, dude. We lost a treasure when he died. Like he is one of the best to ever do the game.
That's true.
Steve, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Do you think you could give us a plot synopsis of this movie?
Yeah, I mean,
I saw this movie maybe 10 times before I realized that this actually fit together as a film. So
it doesn't. I mean, does it really need a plot? Like the dude is mistaken. The dude Jeff Lebowski is mistaken for Jeffrey Lebowski, a much more wealthy and prestigious man, of course. Right? The dude is a loser. The dude lives in L.A. He lives by himself in his crappy house. So the dude is mistaken for Jeffrey, who has a lot of money, right? Allegedly, right? There's not much to this. The dude is mistaken. He's raided by some henchmen that are looking to collect some money, right? So they rough him up and pee on his rug and stick his head in the toilet and all sorts of fun and interesting violations of the dude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's more violations when someone brings in a ferret.
Different group, different guy.
Mm-hmm.
The nihilists are the ferrets, right?
I think doesn't he have a home invasion done to him 4 times?
Yes. Everyone breaks into his house.
But I mean, the rest of the film is really just the dude rallying his friends and trying to get back at Jeffrey to get some of this cash, to get some restitution for this grave injustice that's been done
because
unto
the
him.
rug really pulled the room together.
It absolutely pulled this film together.
It's a 1930s film noir, but instead of hitting whiskey, the guy's an alcohol. It's like a stoner. That's it.
This is it.
It's a missing girl caper. He has the money. He's supposed to hand it over and fucks it all up.
And he's just meandering around with his friends. And I mean, the dude is, like you said, it's everything that we identified with. He's carefree, and he is. I mean, what is the dude?
The laziest man in Los Angeles.
Oh, do you want me to do
apparently.
the monologue? Because I have it pulled up.
Go for it.
Way out west, there's a fella, and I want to tell you about a fella by the name of Jeffrey Lebowski. At least that's the handle his loving parents gave him. But he never had much use for it himself.
It's like Sam Elliott's right here.
I know. Should I put down a tarp? This Lebowski, he called himself the Dude. Now, the Dude, that's a name no one would self-apply would come where from I come from. But then, there's a lot about the Dude that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And that's a lot about where he lived, likewise. But then, again, maybe that's why I find the place so darned interesting. They call Los Angeles the city of angels. I didn't find it to be that exactly, but I'll allow that there are some nice folks here. Of course, I've never seen London, and I've never seen France, and I ain't seen no queen in her damn Dundies, as her feller said. But I'll tell you, what I've seen here in Los Angeles is this here story I'm about to unfold. Well, I guess I've seen something ever a bit as stupefying as any of y'all seen in any of those other places, and in English, too. So I can die with a smile on my face without feeling like the good Lord gypped me. Now, the story that's about to unfold took place in the early 90s, just about the time with our conflict with Saddam and the Iraqis. I only mention it because sometimes there's a man. I won't say a hero, because what's a hero? But sometimes there's a man. And I'm talking about the Dude here. Sometimes there's a man who, while he's a man for his time and place, he fits right in there. And that's the Dude. in Los Angeles County.
There's no better way to describe the dude.
and at the end of that monologue, as he's going on and on about this, obviously the dude is in a grocery store opening up a half and half bottle and smelling it and drinking from the carton and then paying 69 cents for it with a check.
With a check. And I mean, and while he's doing it, we see George Bush yelling about Saddam, and the checkout woman could not be less impressed. And then there's a line that Steve said, and if he's a lazy man, if the dude was certainly that, quite possibly the laziest in Los Angeles County, which would put him high on the running for the laziest worldwide. But sometimes there's a man. And it's just it's perfect because even he loses his train of thought, like the movie will later on, as we follow a tumbleweed through the streets of downtown Los Angeles.
Makes you jealous that a man of his stature can survive in Los Angeles. My God.
Well, you could back then when half and half only cost 69 cents.
Right?
Yeah.
What is that? What is that nowadays?
I know. I was like, his house looks nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice
That's
rug.
$1 million
That's a nice
home
house.
nowadays. $1 million home, $5 half and half. I mean, there you go.
Well, and also,
Welcome to the twilight of our civilization.
Dead.
Well, but also, just in general, they fill this world with characters too, which is nice. Because you said his house, and I immediately am thinking of his landlord, who's just, I mean, the guy's a loser, but what's nice is, I was reading Blake Snyder because I'm trying to write a book, which, God help me. I say that now on the podcast. I mean, 6 people who listen are going to hold me accountable.
It's happening.
But
I can hold you accountable like 6 people.
Buy my book.
That's right. But he says you need to save the cat. Well, throughout the rest of it, Jeff Lebowski does actually hold up for his words. He shows up at the damn dance recital. How many landlords have you had that you showed up to their dance recital?
Well, but
Well,
that's
if it
why.
means
But
not
that's why
paying
the
rent.
That's why the landlord's so nice to him.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he's nice to him. You know what I mean? It was a different time back in the 90s
That's
where
right.
it was genuinely, if you were a nice person, you were cool about shit, people would be cool back with you, right? It was
Well, it's
cool
like-
reciprocity kind of deal.
And his line is,
Reciprocate the
I don't think I've ever experienced that.
this aggression will not stand.
It will not stand.
And his line is literally, by the way, dude, it's the 10th. Far out.
Far out.
Oh.
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 Oh, God help me.
Just slipping under my door.
So, as far as the movie goes, we get that opening. But we then smash cut to a montage of fat men bowling, which is kind of amazing. The Man in Me, which is great. And apparently the Coen Brothers this was their follow-up to the movie Fargo, which got them an Academy Award nod, and is a grim story combined from a bunch of different things. By the way, for those of you who don't realize this as we're doing it, this is a whole Coen Brothers month we are doing. And we will do Fargo at the end of the month. But Fargo is the masterpiece that put their names in everyone's mouths, right? Raising Arizona is a great film, but Fargo was the masterpiece. And they followed it up with a stoner comedy, which pissed people off to no end. And in fact, a lot of the early reviews were negative because they wanted another Fargo. And they show up with The Big Lebowski.
But that's just their opinion, man.
Yeah.
It's just 100%.
I mean, that's one person's opinion.
And I do like that the one thing, they bring over 2 things from that movie, which is Peter Stormare, who becomes one of the nihilists, and Steve Buscemi, who goes from being one of the murderer who's literally shoving someone into a wood chipper to being our lovable loser, Donnie, who's a fantastic character.
Who just gets yelled at and doesn't seem to understand anything.
He is an annoying,
Listen, we all have a Donnie. Just like how we all have a Walter in our life,
We
everyone
all-
has a Donnie.
Who would Donnie be without Walter?
Exactly. And and vice versa. Walter only has the power that he has and the rants, and if someone's there to listen to the rant, and that's Donnie.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very true.
yeah.
So this was my first time.
No kidding!
What the?
Ooh.
Okay, so stop everything. What were your thoughts?
I'm leaving. I'm just kidding.
Go on.
No,
My
it
heart
was,
rate
it was
literally
good.
jumped.
This is even better than watching
It
you
was-
work the microphone.
It
Keep
was
going.
good. It's very surreal for me because I am kind of often in the position of watching a movie that everybody loved or knows because I like resisted watching it because everybody talked about it and I was like just like kind of overwhelmed with whatever. So it was that way with Twilight, and it was that way with this movie. But it was good, and I was really curious. How was the reception of like? Was it a hit? Like you said that there were people that were upset about like the type of movie that it was, but did people like it right away?
So the way I understand it is it made its money because, I mean, they followed this up with another big movie that even has George Clooney as the lead, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, which will also do this month.
Yeah.
So it was, eventually the reviews were good, but the thing about this movie, and I bet you believe this just by watching it, it became a cult classic immediately.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so like...
And I'll speak onto the cult classicness of it.
Please.
So obviously I was doing Rocky Horror at the Plaza every Friday night in 2001, and upstairs, because we only had one other theater, which it used to be the old balcony, but they closed it off and made a theater out of it, we would show the Big Lebowski at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And so we would have people coming in and buying tickets, and it's funny because you always knew, obviously, which show they were there for, because they either had like the tactical John Goodman fishing vest on or fishnets. And so it was very clear who was going to what movie.
You just sort the line.
Did anybody come in bathrobes?
A lot of people
100%.
came in bathrobes. And so it was, we would have 50 people upstairs every single Friday. Literally, we showed it, I think, for like 6 years straight.
Yeah.
Every night at midnight, and then we were downstairs. And then 6 years after that, I think we did for Donnie Darko for like 6 years.
Sure,
and then
of
something
course.
else, and then heavy metal. But yeah, it was, boy, I mean, people love it. I mean, they still have Lebowski Fest, don't
Yeah.
they?
I mean, I was going to say, around the corner in my basement where we're recording, I have a Lebowski Fest poster, which was at the old Tabernacle.
Yeah, it's really weird watching a movie that I know sort of so much from quotes and things from just being alive and existing because everybody else knows these things.
Sure.
I agree with that.
So this is one of those films that for me it gets better every time you watch it.
I agree with
because
that.
So I should
it's
just
so
go watch it
it's
again?
so
Yeah.
quotable that you start to anticipate the quotes and you kind of revel in it. I mean, so
I
for
think
the
it's.
first,
I agree with you entirely, but then I think additionally, it's because the older I get, number one, you change who you identify with in the film, and then because again, we all started off as the dude.
Yeah, so then I'm missing that
So
experience.
you're missing that experience. You're already past the dude age, right? So you're already coming in a different state. But then every time you watch it, you get another layer of like storyline that you prefer more than one of the other offshoot stories. So that's what I think.
You guys have a much more complicated history of this movie than I did. I was living in McDonough, and I rented it from the Blockbuster there back when there was a Blockbuster.
I remember the McDonough Blockbuster.
I used to be able to ride my bike there.
are there still Blockbusters?
No.
When
There
you
was only
rode your
one, but it
bike
just
to it,
closed.
were you allowed to rent the Big Lebowski?
Did anyone expect?
I was living. I was a newspaper reporter at the time. I had a
Oh,
job.
okay, you're an adult. Okay, cool.
I mean, I saw this like you should. This is 1998. I think I was like a ninth grader. And like I had a buddy who had an older brother, a friend of the show, Zach Krass. And so I had no older siblings, so R-rated movies had to like come to me from other people. And it was either Scott's older brother Lane or Michael's older brother Zach. So I watched it at like hanging out. Like when you're in high school, you're not sleeping over at a friend's house, but that's what we were doing. You were hanging out. We watched The Big Lebowski, and it shook me to my core. No,
Did you admire the dude?
I understood the dude because in high school, you don't feel like you have control over anything. And he had no control over anything in his life. And like literally, he's being pulled from place to place by other people. And at the end, he figures it out. And so desperately, me as a person wanted to figure it out by the end.
I think it's because we don't look at him as a loser when we're that age. We look at him as just being really, really cool. And he's so chill. And the world's so uptight. And he's just vibing, right? He's just vibing. He's just here for the vibes. And then you realize as an adult, you're like, oh shit, he's a fucking loser, right? But I never thought of him as being a loser when I would watch this at midnight.
Well, because you don't think about you don't have the questions of how can he afford
the house
or whatever.
Well, I think there was an earlier draft of the script that said he was like an heir to the Rubik's Cube.
Oh, that'd be cute. That's so funny.
I mean, that is funny. but it makes no sense.
Well, I mean,
I
it
don't
explains
want
why he
the dude to
doesn't.
be
He can
entitled.
afford to
I want
live in
him to-
Los Angeles and not have a
Right.
job.
I mean, yes, okay.
I don't need
His
the explanation.
windfall of
I just wanna-
$27,000.
I just wanna go with it.
Yeah, like
In Bush
if it's not on
1.0
the
bucks.
screen, it's not in the movie. But I will say too, it used to be a shithole that he lived in.
You say that, but this is the kind of movie that merits some really bad fanfic.
Oh,
I
dude.
would also wonder, like, what would a sequel look like?
There was a
Oh, it would be
sequel.
bad.
It's awful.
The
Called
Jesus.
The Jesus Rolls.
Oh
Yes,
no.
and
It's done in 2020.
It's a remake of a French farce film, and it's about how he didn't actually. Well, he only kind of exposed himself to an 8-year-old or whatever it was. It's a
Only
very
kind of.
strange
And I
story.
remember there was some gossip about the planned sequel where it's Lebowski's son, who's a congressman or something.
Never gonna happen.
Well, there's no. I'm not sure why they would, but
Well, the Coens just don't do sequels. They haven't. And
They don't do
make
really bad
anymore
movies.
together.
They don't make really bad movies either.
No. They've made 2 that weren't great, and even they're better than most averages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting a little off task,
That's fine.
only because we haven't explained, even though you gave a great synopsis, the fact that right
Thanks,
after
Candace.
this big montage and the speech, the dude, even prior to seeing the sweaty bowling,
Oh, God, help me.
is that we walk into the dude, there are people in the dude's apartment, and we all think he's being robbed, but that is not what's happening.
Yes.
It's when, obviously, that he's being hustled for money because they've mistaken for someone else, mistaken identity, and more importantly, guy pisses on his rug. Asian American pisses on his rug.
Ooh, pissed on my rug. Which is his name. It's the character name. But it's a great scene where he opens the door. The 2 men are inside the apartment because he just apparently never locks his door.
Sure.
And they throw him through the house into the toilet.
And the toilet is gross. I mean, like, really watch the toilet scene. It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
And, like, the toilet paper is empty on the roll and it's, like, half ripped off. And then when he puts the actual seat down, but, like, the top part is still up,
There's
you can see the exact
there's
pee
like
stain
a
from the urine. And it's
Well-
like, in every way, it's just fucking nasty. It just...
Which is something I don't think you noticed
I would
if
never
you were
notice that when I was
Yeah.
drunk in the closet at midnight. Absolutely. I
and he
didn't notice
manages
that.
to retain his cool when he's being waterboarded in the
I know,
toilet. He's like,
he's like, maybe
I need to
it's
check
water
down
showing
there
again."
again.
Yeah, he's like, I
The-
need
the
to check
line-
again.
The line is so funny. Is he goes, "Where's the money?" Shit, and he goes, "It's down there. Let me look one." Let me look at it." But what's great too is, and Candace, my wife, not Candace here, friend, loves the weird porcelain colors. Right, like so
Pink.
he's got in this case he's got like a peach bathroom, and so the toilet is also pink. And he goes, "You think I'm married, man? Do you see the ring? The toilet, seat is up."
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, they must have put a squib in the half and half because they go in the bathroom and it explodes everywhere. But
And that explains what happened to Jeff Bridges' front teeth.
They exploded.
they exploded.
Drinking half and half with a squib in it.
Delicious.
Damn.
Damn.
Judgy. But the scene is good because
That's it's fucking villain era.
That's right. This is good because this is where we get the dude speak. And that's going to distinguish the character throughout because he's like, the guy's peeing on the rug and he goes, "At least, man, I'm housebroken." He's Shaggy come to life, which is the character.
Yeah.
Shaggy if he was middle-aged and Scooby had died.
Damn it, man.
Villain. Why are you so villainous tonight, man?
Yeah.
I did
Because I'm
read-
turning into a nihilist.
So,
You don't
And I-
care about anything.
speaking of the
I'll
nihilist,
cut off someone's Johnson.
am I the only? I've seen this movie like 9 times.
Yeah.
I only today just realized that Flea is one
Yes,
of the
Flea's the
nihilists.
short line.
like I did, like it literally, like wait a minute, I've seen that guy live. Who is
I
that?
don't even know. I just there's a bunch of angry German guys. I didn't really know much about them beyond it. Stormare is from Red Hot Chili Peppers, right?
No,
They hate-
Flea is from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh.
Stormare's just an actor.
Oh,
Yeah.
see,
Yeah. No.
Is Professor Quirrell? What's his name?
Quirrell from Harry Potter,
Yeah.
Quirrell.
Snape? Who?
Is he in this?
Mr. Lebowski.
Is that?
You not impress me.
Maud, the artist, the
That's Julianne Moore.
her
No, dude.
guy.
Let her finish her damn sentence, man.
Matt's a villain now. He can't help.
No, Matt's being evil. We're
Villain
good.
arc has been actualized.
Isn't that he's like a famous actor
Yes, he
guy,
is.
right?
He is. And
Is it
I'm
Professor
spacing on his
Quirrell?
name. Honestly, you might be right. I gotta check. Someone fill time.
All right, so after the pissing of the rug, we head to the bowling alley, and that's where we meet our other main characters because dude is relaying the story of what has just occurred to both Walter and Donnie. Walter is a Vietnam vet
Who has PTSD?
who has a lot of baggage. But
Yes, this is David Thewlis, and he was not Professor Coral. He's Remus Lupin.
Oh,
Yes,
he's
Lupin.
great. Yeah.
and he's
Nice.
also Sir
He's
Patrick.
very
Yeah.
young though. I was
He's
like,
super young. I
wow,
never would've recognized
he's
him.
The guy who's with the pornography's on is just giggling.
yeah.
Yes.
And he was also the lead in the legendarily horrendous Island of Dr. Moreau film.
Yeah, no, that's someone else too.
So now we're here at the bowling alley. We've met Walter and Donnie. Again, Walter is the Vietnam vet with lots of both emotional and physical baggage because he has shown up at the bowling alley with
With
his
a dog.
ex-wife's dog. So
who he says is
It's a show dog.
It's a Pomeranian with papers, and it's a
show
Yorkie.
dog.
I think it's a Yorkie.
Yeah,
This is the guy who gets stranded.
and then of course Donnie, who is our sweetheart of the, he's always just getting shit on, but God bless Donnie. Love Donnie.
God bless Donnie.
And so Walter convinces the dude that he shouldn't be mad at the guy that pissed on his rug, but instead should go after the real Jeffrey Lebowski for reimbursement on the rug because that's who they were after to begin with.
Right.
And that's
Makes
what leads
sense.
us to the mansion where we meet again Seymour Hoffman. Just chef's kiss, hilarious. He's looking at all the fucking pictures. It's ridiculous. So someone take it from here.
Yeah, the Little Lebowski's Urban Achiever
No, the Little-
League or something like that.
The
Yes.
Little Lebowski Urban Achievers. This is also where we meet David Huddleston as the Big Lebowski, who
Yes.
R.I.P. 2016. You might know him from Blazing Saddles as Olson Johnson, the guy in the corner who goes, "I'm glad you heard that nonsense."
It's a distinct honor when your IMDb avatar is in black and white.
It is.
Like, quite actually.
Top 4 are the Big Lebowski Blettles producers and a mediocre movie called Frantic. But that's a great top 3. That is a solid top 3.
Springtime for Jeffrey and the dude.
And the nihilist.
There you go.
Yes, it's springtime.
That's good.
All right.
We saved it.
We did. And so now we're, the dude tries to explain to him that he feels that he should be reimbursed. And of course, Jeffrey's having none of it. He is classic boomer. He is here to serve you. Nobody wants to work any more realness.
No. And he goes, are you looking for a job dressed like that on a weekday? And he goes, is this a weekday?
Like,
Well, I mean, and even like when we're introduced, there's like an antechamber before his office where there's like a Time magazine mirror that says.
Oh
Person
yeah,
of the
I
Year.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, "Are you a Lebowski achiever?" And he looks at himself and he kind of
He's like
shrugs.
confused.
Yeah. Is this him with Nancy? It's good across the board, but also the idea that he has nothing else to do, but still makes a guy wait outside of his office, just tells you he's a prick.
exactly.
Which is wonderful.
So he ends up, of course, telling the Big
Right.
Lebowski no, that he's not going to be giving him shit. No more handouts. He's tired of handouts. And so...
Your revolution lost. The bums lost, Lebowski.
Exactly. So Jeff, so the dude very cleverly on his way out tells Seymour Hoffman that he said I could have any rug in the house.
That's who he reminded me of. He reminded me of the guy in It's a Wonderful Life, like the
Potter.
The uncle?
the bad guy in
Oh,
It's a
Potter,
Wonderful
yes,
Life. Yeah.
Potter.
That's a movie I've never seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my
haven't
god,
either. I
you
heard
need
it
to watch
sounds- I
that.
heard it was sad.
I think we should watch
It'll
it
make you
together.
cry.
I don't
It's-
want to
I
it
know
won't-
what it's about,
it
obviously,
won't-
'cause
it
I've seen
won't.
all the other movies that it's based off of.
But we
yeah.
should
Maybe-
only watch it at the holidays, though. You shouldn't watch it.
No. First of all, yes, 100%. It's a Christmas movie, even though Christmas only plays part in the last 10 minutes. But that would be a fun one to do a riff on, to record, because it's in the public domain. So the four of us could watch it together and release and just do a commentary track to it.
Let's do it.
You want me to do that?
Why not? It would be fun.
Okay.
The only thing that made me sad about It's a Wonderful Life is empathizing with that man and how many goddamn kids he had to raise.
I'm crying too by the end. Yeah. That's a lot of freaking kids.
Dude, when he reaches in his pocket and finds Zuzu's puzzles, and I'm just like, I am crying into my eggnog right now.
I like how Matt and I are sitting here stone-faced. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Fuck it, Clarence, let's go bowling.
Yeah, that crying's not part of Matt's villain era. So, I don't know. It's
really weird.
Laughing in revenge is Matt's villain.
It's true. We could laugh at the movie and then they could question us.
You could correct someone's grammar, perhaps.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
I mean, that would be villainous.
Yes.
You could do that to me. I would probably give you a lot of opportunities.
So on his way out with the rug.
With Rug and Ham.
That's where we meet Tara Reid.
Is where we meet Tara Reid.
Bunny.
1998 Tara Reid is... Wow.
She's delicious.
Wow.
She is.
Indeed.
Oh, God. We all knew one of her, too, didn't we?
Yeah.
Some of us, and even in the biblical sense, some of us knew that one. Yeah. So, goodness.
Oh, mercy.
Oh, God. What was her name?
Then we get some foot stuff.
Bunny.
What was her name?
Bunny Lebowski.
Bunny Lebowski.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about the character. I'm sorry. We're talking about something else. Anyways, Bunny Lebowski. Yeah, we meet Bunny. And, of course, that's where Bunny tells him to blow on her toes and offers to give him
I'll suck your cock for $1,000. And he goes, and Brent just going, and he goes, I just have to go to the ATM. Like, as though the dude looking at this man, he has
yeah, he said the money machine or the cash machine or something.
And Brent goes, and she goes, Brent can't watch unless he pays $200.
He can't watch.
Now, there's someone out in the pool.
That is
like,
that's
drunk
Peter
and
Stormare. That's one of the nihilists.
There's one of the nihilists. Okay.
Yeah.
And she goes, he's a nihilist.
He doesn't care about anything.
It goes, that must be exhausting. Which is, again, it's a good line. I mean, frankly, as a comedy guy, I guess, what I like about the dude, which is what you asked at the beginning, I just like that he has a quip. He's very quick on his feet, the dude.
Yeah.
And he's very funny. Now, the movie, if anything, since it's based on a stoner, the interesting thing is that how quickly it cuts.
Oh, God. Immediate cut.
Yeah.
Right back to the bowling alley.
Well, no, there's actually good juxtaposition in this film. Like, they do that very well, you know? There's a dramatic moment, and they cut to the bowling alley, and immediately pins are falling over, and it's loud, and it's, like, emphasizing that previous point. Like, it's actually very, very good.
Yeah, because we cut from this scene to him hanging out with Walter and the guys bowling again, to then once again going back to the other place. And by the way, this is one of the most quoted scenes, because this is where Walter screams that the guy's over the line and pulls a gun on him.
Yeah.
He goes, he's a pacifist man like me. Well, I once dabbled with pacifism and then I fixed myself, which is chef's kiss. But this is where we have him with the new rug, right? And he then ends up going back to Lebowski's house, because this is when the actual plot gets going, which is that Bunny has been kidnapped. And he's the one who has to fix it. And one of my favorite lines in this whole thing is Brent leads him into the fireplace with a flourish, and the dude is sitting behind Jeffrey Lebowski, and Lebowski is pouring his heart out in what turns out to be nonsense later on. But he's like, strong men also cry. Strong. But Lebowski's like, do you mind if I light up in here?
Yeah.
And he just pulls out a joint and starts smoking it behind this broken man.
It's a bummer, man.
It's a real bummer, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I love the fact that when you walk in, you hear like the music playing. All I can think about is the recent viral videos on TikTok that have the penguin. It goes toot toot whenever you hear that music. That's all I could think of the whole damn time. I was like, stop.
That's funny.
Sorry, what's a TikTok?
I'll show you later when you're grown up.
Oh, and for those of you listening in the future, it's the thing that Congress ended in 2024.
Oh, right.
Instead of gun violence.
That's right. Instead of any other problem, you know what they were concerned about?
TikTok. Chickity McTockity.
All of those...
Chairman Xi is going to be stealing my credit card numbers.
all of those Zennials are doing dances to uncopyrighted music.
That's right.
Better
My
get
God.
involved.
So Chairman Xi can steal their credit card numbers too.
Oh, God, we're doomed. Anyway, so they promise to return Bunny Lebowski if they hand over $1 million. No funny stuff.
No, definitely no funny stuff.
No funny.
So then, of course, we have to cut right back to the bowling alley because everything we learn, we then relearn through the dude's perspective in the
Those are-
bowling alley of him telling Walter whatever he thinks is going on.
And
But
Walter
this is importantly where we're introduced to the Jesus.
The Jesus.
No one fucks with the Jesus.
You talked about your lovely bowling attire in the band, and
Dude.
like God, the Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I resonate with the Jesus.
does it say the Nick?
No, mine says the dude. I also have one that says Belgian Avenger, which is tight. But John Turturro here fucking steals the show. And I was telling this to Steve. This is something I thought about this time because I knew we were going to talk about it for the show. Later on, the dude says he hates the fucking Eagles, man. I've had a long night and I hate the fucking Eagles, man. So we introduced the third villain of this movie, the Jesus.
The villain for one scene.
With another Eagles song. He's introduced to Hotel California. Now, he is Hispanic, so it is the Gypsy Kings version of it. But he rolls a strike and he does a little dance as the encore kicks in, or the main theme kicks in. But he goes, man, that creep can roll. And
Yeah,
Walter
that
goes,
creep can
yeah,
roll.
but he's a pederast. What's a pederast? Shut the fuck
Shut
up,
the fuck
Donnie.
up, Donnie.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie is the third member of this group who just mostly gets yelled at a lot.
Donnie is an important character because despite everything, they like him, which is because again, the dude in the end is a good person, which is you have to have. If he's not a good person, the movie falls apart.
Even Walter, in his worst of times, is also a good person. He's just messed up.
He cares for his buddies more than anything.
Yeah, like they're
Exactly.
hard.
Yes.
Like this is a movie about friendship.
It's about
and like going.
because men cry too.
Yeah.
And men also invite themselves on missions to trade $1 million for, barely legal housewives of Beverly Hills.
Listen, and he is going along because he's very upset about the fact that Bunny probably like kidnapped herself, man.
That's right.
She probably did it herself. It was money all over town. I like the fact that the dude was given a beeper.
Dude, and he has
As if 69-cent half and half didn't date the film, the fucking beeper did. I was like,
or a car phone as big as a laptop.
yeah,
There are still doctors that carry beepers today. Like it's still a thing.
It
It's
is a
very
thing, and
rare,
I don't know
but
why. And I'm like, that doctor's having an affair.
Doesn't the
Trust and believe. That doctor's like, yeah, honey, St. Joe still wants me to have this beeper.
What did
No,
she?
they don't.
What did
That
she
is a
send
fucking
him?
lie.
Like
That is a
boobies?
fucking lie.
Did she send him like
Oh, yeah.
800
Yeah.
period, bracket, period.
what purpose does a beeper serve? Does it mean does it remind you to call someone?
The beeper, the number comes up on a beeper, and that's the number you're supposed to call back.
so you're
Okay.
That
so
is
you,
how a beeper works.
so you give your side piece the beeper number?
Yes.
Like is that how that was like a
Yes, that's exactly how it works,
Nice.
actually. Yeah. Because trust me, no nurse is fucking beeping a doctor. She'd rather kill a patient first than have to beep your fucking ass.
What's
you ever
it-
pick up the phone the first time she calls, or you're dead. Done.
What's it called when somebody sends a message late at night just for like a hookup?
Drunk texting.
I don't know. What do
How
we
I
call that?
communicate with all
Isn't
of
there?
How I communicate with all my friends.
Oh, my
Isn't there like a name for that? Like when you it's like
Booty
a late
call?
a booty call.
That was the word you were looking for? Okay. All right.
Taking you back to the old school because
The
I'm an old
recent
fool who's so
Facebook
cool.
message.
What do you
know?
kids call these days?
I do that with a
Mike,
kid.
I would call it a rumpus reminder.
You're calling your
I've
fornication
used-
phone?
I've used that old school line of the students had to explain to them who Run DMC is.
You're just tick, 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 like a telegraph machine.
Not-
Dearest
not-
Martha.
Not to be confused with a butt dial, which is
No.
No,
Right.
when
totally
you
different.
call
It's
someone
an
with,
accidental call.
with your booty.
A booty call is a very purposeful call. No accident there. Very purposeful.
Okay, well we can move on from that. I just
We can dwell
Oh,
on this
no.
if you want.
No. You said it. Now we're going to dwell on it.
No, we can
You've
stick
opened
it.
up this fucking can of worms.
Is this when then they go to
Thank you.
try?
Wait.
Jesus.
Before we leave the scene, I have to do
fuck
my
with the
favorite line. of this moment of the film, which is he's talking to Walter and he goes, "What is this day of rest shit?" Because he's Jewish, which matters later on. But he goes, "If you pull a piece on me, I will take it from you, shove it up your ass, and pull the trigger until it says click." And the dude goes, "Jesus." He goes, "You said it, man. Nobody fuck with it, Jesus." Which is choice.
And doesn't he lick a bowling ball at one point?
He does.
That's his introduction.
does.
We're introduced to his tongue first.
Do we see that piece first? Do we see the
Yes.
ball
No,
polishing
the ball
first?
polishing's afterwards.
That's
It's
after he's
he
gotten
gets
the
a
strike.
Oh God!
Yeah.
What a beautiful
But we
scene.
smash cut to that, to the dude lying on his back on the new rug.
On his
listening
new
to
stolen carpet.
listening to Stripes, where I believe the
That's right.
introductory shot is Nixon bowling on the wall. It's such
Is
a
that
strong...
who that is bowling? Because I didn't know what
Yeah,
the
it's
picture
yeah,
was.
Richard
yeah,
Nixon
it
bowling.
is.
Nice. I love it.
Because Nixon was a bowler. Apparently, the story is every president gets to add one thing to the White House. You know, Obama added a basketball court, Clinton added a movie theater. Nixon added a bowling alley to the basement of the White House.
Oh, I did
so-
not know
You mean
this.
Clinton didn't add a plush orgy room?
How do you
First
feel?
of all, he used the Kennedy sex tunnels. He's fine.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone
Everybody
knows
knows
this.
that.
How do you feel as a dude? Because bowling's a very niche thing, and bowlers like bowlers.
They sure do.
But the dude does not like Richard Nixon, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
That's
he likes that he bowled, though.
Doesn't
Yeah.
he tell Maud about like his hippie youth occupying buildings? He really wouldn't like
He was
Richard
one
Nixon.
of the Seattle Seven, we're told. He wrote the Fort Huron statement, which is a big deal in the SDS. But he's also just a complete washout in life, which is the point.
That's right.
You know the Seattle Seven? Well, that was me and six other guys.
So because I feel like y'all would appreciate this trivial fact. Do you know where Richard Nixon gave his famous "I am not a crook" speech?
Please.
It was at the Contemporary Hotel in Disney World.
Good first.
I've been in the exact
funny.
ballroom.
We've stayed there. That's
You were
lovely.
there. You were just you and the monorail and Chef Mickey were right upstairs.
Oh man, drunken guys trying to get us to sing "It's a Small World" in the monorail. I
Yeah.
mean, those are great
Those
times.
are great times. Yeah. So there you go. You're welcome, fucking internet.
And by the by, if you have not Googled a picture of Richard Nixon on the beach, you should, because he's got his patent leather shoes walking down a beach in Southern California.
Was there just one set of footsteps in the sand though?
Yeah.
Yeah, because no one wanted to be within 100 yards of Richard Nixon.
God, we could have a whole podcast about Richard Nixon.
We could. The Nix cast.
My uncle's brother has an award for kicking all of the hookers out of Tijuana during Richard Nixon's visit. Like, it's a very, like, you know,
Does it actually say
What
that on
does
the
it say?
award?
Yeah, what does it say
It
on
just
it?
says for like service to the country. You know, it's like
okay.
very generic, but that's what it was, right? His job was to like clear out, you know, Richard Nixon's like path through Tijuana to make sure like all the unsavory folks weren't presented, you know?
Now, if President Nixon gets another erection, they might bomb China. So we've got to remove all the prostitutes from Tijuana.
Get them all out of there.
Oh, God. Around here, we're introduced to Maud Lebowski, who punches him in the jaw
Yes.
and takes the rug. But we don't go to her house yet. This is when he is called by Brett to get the phone and to then go with the ringer to get to do the drop off of the money.
Now he's only supposed to go by himself. No funny business.
No funny stuff.
So of course he brings Walter.
So of course he brings Walter.
Of course he brings
Right.
Walter.
Because Walter has this plan to give the nihilists a fake briefcase, beat one of them until they give up where Bunny is, and then keep the $1 million.
That's right. That's right.
It's a good plan.
I mean, it's not an awful plan. It's just, you know, and especially in Walter's eyes, because he's convinced that because the dude said one time, I think she's the one who kidnapped herself, she's totally fine. We're not risking this person's life at all, right? That's what he thinks. So,
Walter's the best. Everyone's got that conspiracy theorist friend.
No,
everyone has
like-
everybody has
what
that
he
one
is.
friend, right? That's why Walter's funny, because we all have that one friend that you're like, you're like, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Okay, come on.
Okay, I'll buy into it.
All right, I'll buy into it for a little bit. Let's go.
That
Okay,
gives-
we'll
that-
try the briefcase
Let's
thing.
run on this train. And so, but it goes awry when they find out that they're not going to be meeting with these people. They're just supposed to throw this shit off the side of the bridge. And
That fucks up our plan, dude.
it just
Well,
fucks
you
up
should
the-
just
call
explain
him
it to the
back.
boss.
Just call him back. Just fucking explain it, right? So anyways, they throw. Walter ends up throwing his bag of
The fake
underwear over the
briefcase.
side, and then he rolls out of the car with an Uzi that he's brought. You know, because why? Who wouldn't, right? I
Right.
get it. And then the fucking thing goes off, and it shoots up the dude's car, and it's in every way, it's a fucking fail. It's a fail. It's fail. It's fail.
Yeah,
it's
the
fail.
dude's car just gets progressively more destroyed throughout
Yes.
this movie.
Yeah, much like our spirits. We're like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, my spirit was very much intact for the whole thing.
Was it?
It was intact for the whole ride, I'll tell you what.
So then what happened?
I see some half and half over there. We're going to get a White Russian?
He is going to make my direction. So, of course, after anything like this was to occur, we're back at the bowling alley. So now we're back at the bowling alley.
No, literally, that was the scene where he goes,
Like, immediately he
all
goes,
right,
fuck
he
it.
throws it out. Fuck it, dude. Let's
Let's
go
go
bowling.
bowling.
Let's go bowling. Yeah,
like,
that's
we're
right,
going
that's
to
right.
reset life.
They're literally still in the same, like, outfits with his little like, Walter in his, like, camo outfit.
Walter is bleeding because he shot himself in the hip, and
True.
we see him holding the bowling ball up to his chin because semis are tomorrow, right?
Exactly, that's right. And so, and that's when Donnie shows up and tells them, you know, that the league has scheduled them for Saturday play, which we find out Walter cannot do.
Can't do it.
Because Shabba Shabbos.
It's Shabbos. I can't.
Shabbos.
No
Shabba
work.
Shabbos.
Can't drive.
I don't turn on the oven. I certainly don't fucking bowl. So, and the whole time we have these three distinct, you know what it is? Every conversation with the three of them is like the song right before intermission at Les Mis. Because there's three distinct conversations going on. Everyone's yelling and talking at the same time, and you're trying to focus on each plot line, and it's a lot, and you feel overwhelmed, but it's funny at the same time. So you have the dude's phone constantly ringing, the cell phone that he's got with him. He's like, what do I do? What do I tell him? What do I tell him? And then you have him going on and on about the fact that he can't play on Saturday. Then you have Donnie asking like questions like he doesn't understand what Shabbos is and why can't he play? And so it's a lot. It's a lot. And so the dude gets mad and he gets up and he's walking out. So they all chase after him. They're like, you know, we're going to call the league and we're going to tell them we delivered the money. Everything's going to be fine. And they're going to go out to the car where obviously you brought everything else in with you to play, but you didn't bring in the briefcase with $1 million in it. You left that in the car in the parking lot, which I would do too, obviously.
Oh, 100%. But I will say what's interesting here, too, is we get the three characters down pat because Walter literally tells us what the characters are. Donnie, you're like a child who's wandered into a movie and has no idea what's going on. And he really is. When I was a kid, when I first saw this, a kid. I was 18 or 16.
You were a
16.
kid. That's
I was a kid. I was a child. But I felt bad that they just kept picking on Donnie because I collect Donnies in my life. But at the same time, Donnie's not fucking paying attention to anything. He's really not. But then Walter is an asshole because, like you said, he does really care about his friends. And when you're the dude's age, who I imagine is in his late 40s,
Which, by the way, when he filmed this, he was 42.
okay, so he's in his early 40s.
Yeah.
But the fact is, Walter's an asshole, but he's his friend, and that's what you deal with. You deal with your asshole friend.
You get what you can get when you're that age. Anyone whose schedule will match with you is your friend. That's your new friend.
That's true.
It's true,
And
right?
you know what? Like you
We're
said,
friends now.
Right.
We're best friends now.
Yeah.
That's
We're
it.
getting undercuts together. We're best friends now.
I mean, it's the joke, Jesus' miracles that he had 12 friends in his 30s, right? The fact that I do this podcast, people are like, really? People still hang out? I'm like, yeah,
We do.
we still come
You have to
up.
have an organized, scheduled activity, but yes.
That's right. That's right. No, I mean, no one listens to the podcast. This is just an excuse to hang out.
It really is.
That's right.
I wouldn't care. Like, my parents are always like, should we listen? I'm like, no.
I don't know.
You
if
got to
I
get
want
those
my
hit counts up.
relatives to listen.
I don't want
I
my
told them they
parents
wouldn't
listening to
like
stuff
it.
I say. Oh my
They
God.
asked about it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I
I-
don't think you'd like it.
No, I mean, I don't even recommend this to my colleagues. People have asked if they want to come on the show. I'm like, you don't listen first.
You tell them, you're like, I'm not going to tell you what it's called.
No, there's a reason why I do the podcast that they pay me to, so that I can refer people to that one. We're
Yeah.
talking about books on that
Yeah.
one.
That's right.
People actually listen to that one. This is a chance for us to drink too much and talk about movies. But then the dude is just inherently empathic. Like, when Walter's cynical, he's cynical. When he's not, he's like, they're going to kill that poor woman, man. Like, he just wants to support people. And we know people like that too. And that's why you want to be the dude. You just want to be that supportive friend. And that's what's going on here.
I want to support Donnie because sometimes I'm Donnie and I feel it, you know?
So after we find out that the car has been, we don't know what's happened. Has it been stolen? Has it been towed? What's going on? The money's gone. Where's the car? We go back to the dude's apartment where he has called the police.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
Two police officers are sitting on his couch, looking at his pipe and shit like this, and all his smoking paraphernalia on the table.
And he's trying to tell them like what all, and he's being very honest about
Yeah,
what
I
all
mean,
is going
Except
on.
for the
car.
what's in the briefcase.
That's right, the car,
Yeah.
and he's got the cassette tapes, and we got Credence, and and his
A briefcase
with his his papers and stuff.
Work papers and things.
So
Yeah.
what do you do for a job? Because I'm unemployed.
And his rug.
He go,
And then he gets the
You're like,
voicemail.
it was that's still at the same time. No, separate. Wow, two separate incidents. Yes, and then Maud leaves a voicemail saying, of course, that she has the rug. And the cop, I love, goes, well, I guess we can close the case on that one.
Close the case.
Oh, God. And this is where we're introduced to Maud Lebowski, who is just...
Am I Maud?
Are you Maud?
Am I Maud?
You're
I
a
don't
little
know.
Maudie.
Maud?
I think I would be, like, I was asking myself on the way up here, I was like, what character would I be at this point? And I was like,
but I don't know. You might be Bunny.
am I Bunny?
You might be
Oh,
Thank you. That is like the
my.
nicest thing anyone has ever said.
Maud is just anarchy. I mean,
Maud is anarchy, right?
I could feel it. Yeah,
I think I could be
absolutely.
Maud.
I mean, Maud is the only one to appear nude of the named characters, too.
That's
Which
true. That is very on brand.
it is.
Mm.
I mean, and also her opening, like, do you like my art? Whatever it goes, I've been told it's very vaginal.
It's very vaginal. In fact, the term vagina is very upsetting to some men.
How do you feel about the term vagina? And he goes, I was just hearing about my rug. Which is, a man will talk about his rod or his Johnson.
Johnson.
We're going to hear so much about Johnston's.
Well, what this script is really good at is referencing itself beforehand. Like, as at the one point, the dude goes, "This aggression will not stand, man," which is what we heard George Bush saying earlier on. And so she says Johnson, so then the nihilists say Johnson. It's the Coens. They write good scripts.
It's the comedy circle.
Right, it is.
You're very good at coming back to the line.
Yeah, I mean, and again, what's funny is there could be a different crime, and these characters would be no different. Like, what the Coen's really good at is creating characters and shoving them into a room together to see what happens. Which, again, we're doing a bunch of movies this month. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou is the same thing. Like, they're just three interesting characters going through life, and then interesting shit happens because they're interesting people.
Yeah.
And I could just watch the dude do things because he's an interesting guy.
He's a
with interesting
real
friends.
character. Yeah, a real character in the real world.
I guess note to people who write screenplays and listen to this: if your character is not interesting outside your movie, it's a shitty character. Like, period. End of question. At this point, we're told who Bunny is, that she was a former porn star. We see a clip of the movie Log Jammin'.
A classic, a cinematic classic.
One of those, I'm here to fix the cable, but I didn't need the cable fixed.
Everyone needs some cable laid, trust me.
And I do like how the dude just walks over to the bar and makes a White Russian. I mean, I'm drinking a White Russian. We made the joke earlier on, but like that's all.
I don't
he
think
drinks.
I've ever had a White Russian.
It used to be my preferred drink. I'm a big fan.
It should not be. It's so sweet.
It's very.
There you
sweet.
go. That was a positive reaction.
It's like alcoholic chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Pretty
That's what
much.
it tastes
That's
like.
basically it.
Well, and it's funny because this is the 90s, and when I think of the 90s, I think of like Applebee's or Chili's, and they're like mudslides, and there's like literally a chunk of brownie floating in
Yeah,
it.
that's exactly what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I don't drink these very often, but we're doing the movie, so it felt appropriate. So when I use Kahlua, it's like I'm making a milkshake. Let's add just a little bit of something.
Does your
'Cause that's what this
milkshake
is.
bring all the boys to the yard?
So
No,
elsewhere,
Never did. I've checked the yard.
my
There are no
God.
boys.
Is that the cringe shit you do to the kids?
Not
You talk
not,
about shaking titties to them, too?
not that one. That's a little much. Vanilla ice.
You're like I'm aging myself by referencing this.
No,
Vanilla. Everyone hates vanilla ice.
no, for reasons. A lot
I
of
don't know if the kids would know Vanilla Ice.
they don't. So they just think Mr. Quinn is quoting rapping.
They're like,
Oh, look at him try to rap like a white person. Oh, this guy's a white person too. That makes sense.
Word to your mother. So
Oh, he
Yup,
likes
yup.
big butts, and he's not lying about it. Wow.
it's true.
Interesting.
Thank you, Reverend Ron.
Yeah.
A compulsive fornicator is taking my father through the proverbial ride. She also introduces one of my favorite phrases, which is in the parlance of our times, which the dude tries to say
So say
later.
it later. We're not having, like the parlance and stuff.
I just love how he's a blank slate and he just says what people say to him back, so he sounds smarter because he's really just a stoner.
He's just a stone parrot. That's
Because
fine.
again, I knew stoners in I was gonna say in college. I know stoners now, but it's the same thing where they just say shit that they've heard 20 minutes before to sound smarter.
Which, by the way, we find out that Maud stole the rug. She's the one who takes the rug back because she gave that rug to her now deceased mother and feels sentimentally attached to it. So she's going to pay the dude some money in an attempt to get her father's money back because he took it out of an endowment fund
for the little
for the
Lebowski
little the
Urban
tykes,
Achiever.
Mike's.
Urban Achievers. Yeah.
Well, what
Urban
was in the
Achievers.
office? So and so's tykes. Oh shit. Oh fuck! I gotta look it
I
up.
thought it was the little Lebowski Urban Achiever.
Yes, it is, but I'm making a reference into The Office. which-
Oh right, Mike's Tykes.
Mike's Tykes, right? Yeah.
We promised to pay for those kids
to
to
go to college. Yes, it's the
Dude,
same deal.
that is the hardest thing to watch on the planet.
God, that is rough, dude. So yeah,
There's not enough Xanax in the world.
I know. So, anyways, so we find out. So he's gonna get 20 grand for trying to get the money back to go back into the endowment fund, and then he can purchase a new rug with that money.
Doesn't she say it in this really pretentious way? Like, you can purchase many rugs.
It's the Simpsons where he reaches under the couch to find a peanut and finds a $20 bill. And he goes, but money is better than a peanut. He goes, why? Please explain. Because money can be exchanged for goods and services. That's what it is. She has to explain it to him. 20,000 clams or simoleons or
Whatever you call
whatever.
it.
Yeah.
Whatever you call
It's
it.
such rich people nonsense. It's so great.
I know. So she sends him home in a
Limo.
to which then he is pulled out of the limo and drug into another limo.
Which is a line I say all the time. Dude, I've got a beverage here, man. And they throw him into a car when he's holding another White Russian. It's
Him
like
constantly spilling fucking half and half just kills me. And so now we're in there with Philip Seymour Hoffman and of course Jeffrey Lebowski, and they're talking to us about the fact that now they've been contacted and told that the money didn't get to them.
And he goes, nothing is fucked. The plane has crashed into the goddamn mountain. And he goes, look, I've got certain information, yada, yada, yada. And
New information's come to light, man.
And he hands the envelope across, and in there is a toe.
A toe.
With the same green nail polish.
I can
that
get
we
you a
saw.
toe.
I will not.
Technically, you toe by three
you-
o'clock with the nail polish.
I think about the scene where he is freaking out in that diner all the time. It's so fucking funny, man. Okay. So in the back of the limo, he gets the toe. We smash cut to some
Designer.
greasy spoon. And him and Walter and the dude at this point is losing his shit because it's become real for him. And we don't know whatever happened to Walter in Vietnam, but he's totally okay with his buddy. And he's giggling, drinking coffee in the bar or at the bar at the diner. Right, the diner. And he's being such an asshole that the waitress asks him to be quiet, and he takes a First Amendment stand against her, which is just something.
Which is that we all have that friend, right? Am I right?
Oh,
we all know that one person.
I know exactly.
So-
Whenever he does something, I'm picturing a friend.
Exactly.
Picturing
I'm
that
finishing
one
my coffee.
specific friend.
I'm not done.
I'm not done. I'm going to stay. I'm staying. I had buddies who died face down in the mud, so I could talk as loud as I fucking want. I'm like, oh.
The Supreme Court has been very clear on prior restraint. It's just like, God damn it. What an asshole.
So the dude leaves him and heads back to the house to relax in a bathtub where he did not set his hair on fire.
Nice.
Like
nice.
some other people we may have found out have had that happen.
I've
to
never
them.
heard of that
It
before.
was me that
That'd be
happened to me.
wild though.
So, and he,
I was trying
You
to have a
and
nice,
Michael Jackson on
a
the set
nice
of a donut.
candle
Right?
I
bath.
don't know. That's
and a nice candle
now, were
joint.
you also listening to Songs of the Whale? Like he was, the dudes. Everybody in the 90s had a
It was
Songs
probably
of the Whale
Enya.
cassette. Yeah.
It was
Oh, the Tranquil Mood CD that they advertised at
A Day Without Rain.
with Gorgarian chant in it.
And with the rain.
So, are any of you bath people?
I'm a bath person.
I'm
not.
100%. I have the candles. I even have a little TV in the bedroom that I put on the sink.
Why would you want to be in the water your arse has been setting in?
First of all,
All right, first stop.
the dude I have,
Wait a minute,
Mr.
I have
Bubble.
questions. I have questions.
please.
Step one.
Yes.
What fucking bathtub are you using that's big enough to hold you? You're like 7 feet tall. Like
I have
what?
to sit
He has to-
crisscross
he has
applesauce.
He has a jacuzzi upstairs. You didn't know that?
I see like a fucking secret pool that I am unaware of here in the house.
Listening,
Well,
man.
I say that because, like, obviously, like, my husband's really tall, and his complaint about everything in life is everything is very short, right?
It's-
Imagine you probably had this same problem.
No.
So I just imagine, like, you being in the bathtub and, like your knees
Cool, my
are, like,
ankles
so
are wet,
high
yeah.
compared to the rest of your body.
He has the quick stairs he swims around in.
This is going to sound really weird, but I'd like to see Nick in our bathtub.
Okay.
Oh,
Because
please.
our bathtub,
Oh
Go
my.
All right, I'm listening.
our bathtub, it's like a slipper style tub.
You just slip right in?
Yeah, you just slip right in.
It's a clawfoot tub, but it's a slipper style, so the back is high
Oh.
and the bottom is like normal, but it's like short. We had to plan it out when we remodeled our
Short
bathroom.
bottom?
It's really
Okay.
but it's shorter than like a normal tub, and it
Oh.
fits me perfectly. But now I'm just curious, like maybe
how
the
would-
next time if you guys come over, we'll put
With
you in the
just
All right,
tub.
like-
pack up the mics. We're going on a trip.
Yeah.
To the bathtub.
Wow,
We're
the
gonna-
acoustics
to
are
the
incredible in here.
We're
Is this
gonna
going to be like
suddenly
Nixon?
take lots of
This is
pictures.
Lyndon Johnson having meetings in the bathroom. Nick is making us
We'll
record in
measure
the bathroom
things.
with
I
him.
mean, for science, of course.
I'd like to think I'd at least be wearing pants, man.
I just want to know.
If it's
like-
your
I
only
know, like,
friends,
that
maybe
was my
not.
first question. It's not the fact that Nick has scented candles and is playing whale songs and has,
First of all,
like
I'm
a
watching
romance
Forged in
novel.
Fire and drinking whiskey with bubbles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As a man does.
the whiskey has bubbles or the bath has bubbles?
Well, it
Both?
depends on how vigorous I've been with the bubble
And
making.
if you didn't temper your steel properly, it will have bubbles and then it will fucking break, bitch, because I can forge a fucking sword.
And I will say, I just have to decide which half of me I want to soak. Is it my legs or my shoulders? Because
It can't be both. You're too long. It doesn't make sense.
I try to cross my
Physics.
legs. It
It's
doesn't
like,
work out.
it's like the Subway like toasters. You gotta just you
It's like,
And that's when we meet the nihilists.
oh, the nihilists.
Dude.
I hate when nihilists are and bother you while you're just getting high, listening to whale songs in the bathtub.
With a ferret. They just bring in a lot.
Which he calls a
A
marmot.
marmot.
Nice marmot. And when we were watching, my wife starts Googling what a marmot is. And then she goes, I think it's a ferret. I'm like, I don't think it matters in this scene. The guy's stoned. I
It is
do
like
like
a
him
ferret, though,
smoking
isn't
up
it?
the little J with the J clip.
It's the 90s. Of course, it's a ferret. It's the time of Beastmaster. Everyone knows this.
And so these skinhead types come into his house and throw a live ferret in the tub with him.
That's right.
I always wanted a ferret.
And they threaten to cut off. And they threaten to
The
cut.
regretful pause as we're all like, oh.
What would that be like?
And then they threaten to cut off his Johnson.
That's right.
Johnson. And by the way, before they come in, we're told that they found his car, right? And then they smash.
Oh, yeah, he gets a call.
Right. And the old voicemail machine, which is just takes you back. But they smash it, and that's when they threaten him because our various plots are converging now.
The convergence of the multiverse.
Well, but it's so funny because, again, I've seen this movie a whole bunch of times, and it wasn't until I saw it 5 or 6 times that I realized that there was actually a structure to the script. But there's essentially 4 groups going on.
Yes.
There's our heroes, right, which is Donnie and Walter and the dude. There is Bunny Lebowski and the Nihilists. There's Jackie Treehorn, who we have not met, but that's the guy who peed on the rug at the beginning. And...
Band.
and line. And we have Jeffrey Lebowski, like the where the money's actually coming from at the top. And all of those are starting to converge on each other, and that's why there's chaos. Because in the end, it turns out that Bunny didn't kidnap herself even. She just wandered off, which is kind of
On brand.
fantastic. It's literally what happens to Tara Reid. But what's funny is now we're at the midpoint in the movie, and Sam Elliott actually just shows up. Our
That's
narrator
right.
shows
the
up.
narrator just got to show up here in the movie.
But what's funny to me is they're at a bowling alley, and the dude's at a bowling alley bar having a Caucasian, as he calls it. Sam Elliott's not there to bowl. He's just there to wander through.
He's just
the
there to
story.
narrate. That's right.
And it's phenomenal.
It's like a nice intermission. It's really a nice part of the film, actually.
It is. And he just says, "I like your style, dude." And we're just reintroduced to the fact that this guy's just kind of okay.
Now there's fan theories saying that Sam Elliott is not a real character. That he's supposed to be like
a figment of the dude's imagination.
Yeah, well, like the dude's like inner self.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I mean, I have nothing against that idea because he's the omniscient narrator. It's just funny to have the narrator show up in your movie, right?
That's true, and nobody else interacts with him, do they?
No. Other than the bartender who brings him a Sioux City sarsaparilla.
Oh, that's true. So
Well,
never
this is
mind,
like
then
The Shining then. The narrator is not. I mean, the bartender's not real either. He's a ghost, obviously.
Well, but, I mean, their next movie is O Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
And he's essentially a muse. He's the one telling the story.
That's
so,
right.
I mean, that's fine, too. I don't know, man. I do like how they just like each other. You have to use so many swear words. He goes, "The fuck are you talking about?"
Right?
I think at the time, this was one of those movies that just said fuck so much that it, like, made a note, right? Like,
Right. There was like, I mean, the rating system at that time was very strict. So it was like, okay, if you drop the F-bomb like 4 times, then it's rated R. And they're like, okay, well,
You want to get their money's worth.
we had 5 in the script, so now we have 45 in the script.
Right.
So fuck it, you know?
and I mean, like, what was it? Goodfellas had it like 200 times or
Yeah.
something. And like
Yeah.
at this point, Kevin Smith has been making his movies, and it's not like Dogma, previous episode, is subtle either. So this has it 1,000 times in here. But
They had a counter in the South Park movie, didn't they?
Oh, that's
Yes,
what I
they
was
did.
just gonna look it up and see.
Yeah, it was like it was a lot, but I mean anyway.
I don't know if we could do the South Park movie. I love that fucking film, though.
I do too.
I mean, we haven't done a musical, although one's coming up. We're going to do Xanadu because.
All right, who
Daniel-
wants to guess how many times there was an F word in the Big Lebowski?
I'll take
Do
a
you have a
guess.
counter?
149.
169.
Are these Price is Right rules where I can't go over or what?
I don't know. I'm just gonna pick whoever's
Just throw a
closest.
number
I'll
out.
say 101.
What'd you say?
169.
I said 149.
All right, it's you. It's 260.
Holy shit!
Holy fuck!
I believe it. But you know what's funny though?
On
Like,
average, once every 2.22 minutes.
There you go. Every scene, at least 4 times.
once every 2 minutes. It's not
It
that long.
is Professor Lupin.
Yeah.
I can't get over this. I did not. I've
I
seen this movie
recognized
20
him.
times.
Yeah,
I've never
I
noticed
recognize.
that.
I was like, wow, that's like a really young version of the Harry Potter guy, but I couldn't remember the name.
Ew.
Well, and he is such like the effete way he plays it, where he's just like, his little giggle is so good. But there, she's explaining how, and I mean, we haven't given her enough credit. Julianne Moore is dude, and again, the nudity thing is funny to me because she's
delicious.
well, she's gorgeous, but it's not depicted as though she's being sexy.
No.
She's doing the painting
She's
thing.
a weird art person, yeah. I
And
mean,
when she is being sexy, like she drops the road, Jeffrey, love me. They don't show her nude.
That's
right.
right.
That's the time we don't see her naked. It's when she's painting that we do.
Yeah.
Which is it's such a funny choice. Because, and also we should mention around here that when they steal a rug, they give him, they punch him in the knockout spot right here, which makes you lose consciousness. So it's like, we don't want to be worried about the unintended consequences. Go to the doctor. She's speaking like she's Liz Taylor. She's got the mid-Atlantic accent.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want any after effects, Mr. Lebowski. So
I'd like to also remind everybody that just a year prior, she had done Boogie Nights.
That's
Very
a world
nice.
class.
She
We
is
can't do that.
great in that.
Dude, she's incredible.
Let's do that. Let's watch it. We should watch it. That's a great movie. And then, of course, then she does Hannibal, which, by the way, I love her in Hannibal. She's so sexy in that.
She's good in Hannibal. The rest of the movie ain't great.
No, but she's
good in it.
She's in it. When he has her hair trapped in a fucking freezer and he's up against her, I'm like, this is very sexy.
Is that
I'm
what
like, is
gets
he
you
gonna
going?
fuck her or kill her? I don't know, but I'm kind of up for both. Like, what's going on? I don't know. It's a great movie. Just throwing that out
Is
there.
You were ready. You were just ready.
I was ready for that. I'm like, she is the shit.
Is Hannibal the one where he eats the guy's brain?
Yeah.
Has the guy eat his
Yes.
own brain?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then feeds it to a child on an airplane.
Well,
That's right.
You're right. Yeah, Silence of the Lambs is the first one. So yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was confusing it with Red Dragon, which also came after Silence.
But yeah,
That's the one with-
they were like on the plane, and he's like, here's yeah.
Mother always said it's good to try new things.
Ugh.
Oh.
All right, back to the movie. Back to Julianne Moore.
Well, I mean, I'm just
Back to
saying,
Professor Lupin.
like she's funny because she's like this sexual powerhouse in a movie that should not have a sexual powerhouse, and it's funny because her sexuality overwhelms the whole rest of the movie because Buddy Lebowski is supposed to be my stepmother, the slut, right? Is the introduction.
But she's the sexy one, actually.
Yes.
That's the trick, and I love it. They're getting a call from a friend. They're like speaking Japanese. I love it.
But at this point, the dude has back his car. He notices that there's a beetle that's following him, which we alluded to in a previous scene. But the dude smoking his J tries to throw it out the window. It lands back in his crotch, so he crashes into a wall. He can't get out of the car because the door has been smashed in and peed in by homeless people, which we're told. And he reaches behind him and pulls out this kid's homework.
That's right.
At which cut we smash cut. And this is why we're listening to the Credence, by the way. At this point, we smash cut to his landlord's dance
Interpretive
recital,
dance.
which is
Kind of
just-
amazing.
It's amazing. And by the way, good on him for renting a theater, doing his dance number.
Didn't Jeffrey and Maude have this whole conversation about his hippie achievements? How she wants to have his kid.
Not
That's
yet.
later. That's later.
Okay, he brought up, love me.
That's
Yeah.
significantly later.
Yep.
Yeah, we haven't even loved yet.
Yeah, we have not loved yet. Although I will say,
We haven't even sent him to the doctor yet to know whether he'd be a good enough specimen.
but it's around here.
Spoiler.
You're just 20 minutes early. You're like a child who's wandered into But I will say the dude, good friend here, he brings 2 extra people to the show, man.
That's right.
If everyone we knew brought 2 people
2
to
friends
the show.
to the show. That's how you can really be an all-star.
Yeah. That's right.
Pack that brewery.
That's right. You can join the and friends level of Cineprov. Yeah. That's but anyway, so now Walter's talking about how he's going to threaten a child who wrote a shitty paper on the Louisiana Purchase.
Because this is when Walter is going to find a stranger in the Alps.
And they're like, we can stop at the In-N-Out Burger on the way home and get a couple beers, go to the In-N-Out. After this is...
Our luck's changing, boys. Luck's starting to change.
And it turns out that the dad was a writer on the show Brant, which is, again, this is where it feels the most film noir. Like they're threatening someone, they're trying to get the answer. The dad is a someone in L.A., and the dad is in an iron lung. And Walter goes, does he write much anywhere? He goes, no, he's been sick.
He has a medical condition.
God, that's so fucking funny.
That's his wife, Pilar.
Yeah, that's right.
Pilar.
Poor Pilar.
And the fact that like he knew as soon as he opened the door that she was Pilar means he's like researched them, like all of this about them. It just makes you laugh like so fucking hard. And they see a very nice car outside, so they're very worried that this kid who doesn't know shit about the Louisiana Purchase has already spent a bunch of the money, perhaps.
Which I think I did the math briefly. I think they estimated that it was like $30,000 to $40,000 for it was like a Corvette.
Yeah.
It was a
something,
Corvette, yeah.
with all the extras, which like we're kind of like looking at cars right now, and $30,000 to $40,000 is
Won't
a
buy you shit anymore.
modest minivan.
Yeah, at that point in
I
time,
mean,
in
does,
the
it, does it
90s,
at least
yeah.
include a credence?
No, absolutely not.
No,
$40,000.
be lucky if it has a hitch.
I mean, But them threatening this child who clearly
So
could
they
not
go
give-
see Larry, the kid. Yeah.
You are killing your father. Like,
You're killing your father!
you are entering the world.
Is this your homework?
Is
Is
this
your homework, Larry?
We know it's his homework.
Is this your homework, Larry?
Where's the
Is your
fucking
homework,
money? Also, I just love how the mom is letting this happen.
I know.
Yeah. Well, she thought they were cops.
Yes.
And he only said, he's like, oh, we didn't want you to think we were cops exactly, like right when the kid walks in. Honestly, so this was my first time. I was like, at this point, I was pretty confused.
You're
Like,
you're right. You're right.
I was like, okay. And like, I get it. Like, I like, you know, a movie about with these plot twists. Like, I like Lucky Number 11, you know, with twists and turns and all that.
Strong example.
Jeez, I
Strong
reviewed.
It's the best example.
I reviewed that for my college paper. Wow.
Thank you, Grandpa. Did you review any other talkies for your college paper?
Yeah, that's about as
Previous
current.
episode, Return of the King.
It's as current as I am on movies. That'll tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
But so I was like really confused, and I was confused because the kid seemed guilty. So was he just like messing with them?
Well, no, he clearly had joyrided in the dude's car,
Oh, so he did do that, but there
There's
was
no
no
There's
money.
no
money.
idea about the
Yeah,
money. There was
absolutely.
no
No
idea
money.
what the money's talking about.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, so, like-
yeah, I was like, what? I don't understand.
Well, and you know what's funny? Because in the end, it turns out it doesn't matter who stole the dude's car. In fact, the kid may have stolen the car because the car is unlocked, probably like the dude's front door was unlocked the entire movie.
Right.
And like, it's just a piece of shit car. So whoever stole it, it doesn't matter. The kid ended up at one point joyriding in it. And that's what's going on.
And so they smash up the Corvette out front thinking it's the kids to teach them a lesson, only to find out it absolutely doesn't even belong to them.
Yeah, it's the Greek. The
And
Greek guy
he
next
comes
door.
out and adds to our F list.
That's right. And he beats the shit out of their car. And
Yeah.
so we now see the dude, Donnie and Walter, driving home in a windowless car.
Open air.
Over here
Eating
eating
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out burger. Eating it, 'cause they promised Donnie they would go. So.
Which again, I just love that Donnie's like, sure, I'll come along,
Yeah,
man,
I
because
mean, yeah, right?
we all have that one friend.
We all have that. I don't know. Maybe I'm Donnie.
Right?
Maybe
That's what I'm saying. Donnie catches too many hands,
Donnie
man.
catches a lot of vibes in my life. Like, yeah, I'll fucking go along with your shit. We're going in and out, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then I'm in.
Okay. Whatever.
I do realize that I keep saying that it's my favorite, but the next is we see the dude on the phone putting the bar next to the door so he can prop a chair up. And he's talking to Walter, and he goes, no, Walter, I don't think he was about to break because you're a fucking idiot, Walter. And he props the door up, not realizing that the door opens outward. So Jackie Treehorn's guy
Just opens the door, yeah.
Well, and it's even better because he sees it at that moment, and you can see in his face he's like,
Oh, shit.
yeah, I did it the wrong way.
And so at this point now, he's been kidnapped by Maud's people, and Jackie Treehorn people have first peed on his rug, and now they've kidnapped him.
And now we're at a Burning Man festival.
Dude, we do a smash cut.
true.
You're not dealing with morons here, and then we're introduced to breasts on a trampoline.
In slow motion.
It's the Man Show.
It's the Man Show. It's
The Man Show,
1998.
1998.
Joe Rogan is here.
Yep.
We're
That's
back,
right.
baby.
This is where the Man Show got its origins, man.
I also like not
100%.
Weird Al Yankovic, who's so excited to watch the bouncing titties. He's like,
Yeah.
Not Weird Al.
because he's got the permed hair,
I
man.
love like
When you
Weird-
buy your Weird Al off Wish.
Yeah, Walmart Weird Al here is having a blast. But then we pan down from debauchery in this beautiful like beach cove, and then it's like, hello, I'm Jackie Treehorn, directly to the camera, like
right.
we're watching Clue or something. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this fucking movie so much.
Are these weird scenes a Coen invention? I mean, who's the inspiration behind these like very strange mod scenes and like just the artsy fartsy and the Vikings and the titties? And I mean,
So I mean,
who's driving it?
I think
Who is driving?
whenever we
I want to know who's
switch-
driving this bus.
whenever we
I'm on the
switch-
bus and I don't know who's driving it. Come on,
He's Donnie.
right?
You just came along for the in and out.
I missed my stop hours ago. I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, y'all did get pizza, so that's
Nice.
I was falling asleep in this movie until the titties showed up. Thank God.
God damn.
No, I mean, what's funny is to me, it feels like whenever a different main character takes over, like now it's Jackie Treehorn's movie, it's aping a different direction style. Like this really, like, because the whole thing is a film noir, but this feels like we're in like scuzzy underground, like we're watching a bad mafia movie or something.
Is this like, imagine you and one of your younger brothers like riffing off each other? Like, where was this like, no, I want the titties on trampoline scene. Like, all right, fine. Here's how we're going to ham-fist it into this movie, right?
Yeah. No, it's 100%. And it's so silly because like, there's like this very guttural, like, like music happening, like they're humming 2001: A Space Odyssey's theme, and then there's just a woman on a trampoline in slow motion.
But it's very good. Like, it captures that sense of like Jeff is out of his mind. He's not, to your point, like he's not in control of anything right now. He's just like a weird spectator in this circus of nonsense, and that's just his life right now.
And you know what? The opening narration is right. There's one person who could have just cruised through this world, and it's the dude Lebowski.
And it's the dude.
Because nothing phases him in this movie.
Look, when autopilot's got your back, I mean, it's got your back. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know where we're going to end up, but
I was looking up to see, I think, because in my mind, I was thinking it was more of, not a Coen-ish thing, but just a popular trope of the times. Which was
boobs
to
on
have...
trampolines?
Oh, no.
Yes.
We're passing boobs on trampolines. This is after Treehorn has
drugged him.
and we go into this whole dream sequence.
Oh, yeah, the dream sequence.
The dream sequence and the singing and the Viking head, like all that weird kind of shit. It's very Donnie Darko.
It is very Donnie Darko.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has. I think that was a very popular trope.
When
where
did
it's
Across the Universe come out?
Early
Oh,
2000s.
okay.
Because
But
I feel that.
it's about 3 years after this.
Okay.
But it does feel
Yeah,
like
it feels like that.
I
You're right.
wonder, do any of you guys ever have dreams like this?
with
About-
bowling women.
With
Well,
very-
Saddam Hussein
Like-
having
Every
bowling
night.
shoes.
Every
Okay.
night.
So I had a dream one time.
All right, I'm listening.
I'm tuned in.
It was like a 90s home video, like grainy, whatever. And it was a recipe. But it wasn't just a recipe, it was a song. And the song was kind of like the Macarena. And there was a guy, like a middle-aged guy, and he's dancing and he's singing this recipe, and the recipe was for a PB&J. And so it was like honey butter, spread your honey butter, spread your jam, fold it up. And every time the song would finish, like you'd go through this little motion, another guy would be added. And they were wearing baskets, like assorted baskets, like you would find at a pile in a thrift store, like as armor. And so they were singing the song and they were doing this dance. And every time they would finish the sequence, another guy would appear and they would kind of like hop. And like I had this dream. And I feel like it's kind of reminiscent of these like crazy trippy dreams. But that's the only one I've ever had like that.
So to answer your question, Candace, I'm Donnie because I don't know what the fuck is going on right now.
I'm just wondering if any of you have ever had dreams about like a showman,
like a Macarena dudes.
Yeah. They were singing about
I will say,
a
I've had.
PB&J recipe, and they were wearing basket armor.
I never
All
had.
I can think of is when you're talking about this is this song.
Hold it close.
So the biscuit, honey
Is
sauce.
it like that? Is that honey
that's-
sauce sprayed in the
that's-
sauce?
See, I will say I've had.
Much hipper than
Okay.
what was happening. Mine was like very like spread the honey butter, spread the jam, fold it up, and then another guy would appear, and they're all wearing baskets, and they're in like a living room in the 90s, and it's like everything's brown and paneled, and
I mean, what you just described is a Coen film. I mean,
so
you're
it's
right.
weird. It's just weird that this was a dream that I had, and I don't have a lot of like singing dreams or dancing dreams, but this one, it was notable.
But this
I mean,
one
I will
struck the
say-
chord. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
struck a PB&J recipe.
There
90s.
are certain strange dreams that will,
like what?
embed
Tell
themselves
me. Tell
in
me.
your brain.
I want to hear it.
Like driving a Jeep around chasing giant spiders. I mean, there's always a dream, right?
I mean, honestly,
So we're talking about the Big
Just nothing
Lebowski.
as a song. I will also say, before we get just to the sequence, the dude is trying to be like a spy, and he sees Jackie Treehorn get a phone call, and then Jackie Treehorn's taking notes on a notepad, takes a note with him, and tosses it away. And the dude does the thing where you shade it
It was
with
a really
pencil,
good idea.
and it's just a dude with an erection. And I mean, it's very fucking funny. Like, the dude actually tries to be like a detective for a second.
It's like
and
a real scene. You're just like, I've been foiled again.
And he goes, dude, can I make you a drink? He goes, yeah, man, I'll take a White Russian. And he goes, so what about the money? He goes, it was taken by this kid. And he goes, yeah, I'll give you his address. Your guys can handle him. He was kind of an asshole, though. And then we get Sam Elliott. Darkness washed over the dude, darker than and a steer took us on a moonless prairie night. It had no bottom. And then we get the song I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in, which I had
so
never
good.
heard this song before
What
this
a
movie.
great scene,
really?
though.
It's phenomenal.
Amazing.
And we get Gutter Balls, the
That's
porno
right.
parody.
And this whole song sequence used to be the commercial for The Big Lebowski when it was playing in theaters.
No kidding.
Yes. And so people
Yeah.
went into The Big Lebowski thinking this was going to be the movie. Which is, it's nothing about the movie at all. Like, other than the fact there's bowling in it. But, like, yeah. So it's ridiculous.
I tell you what, this sequence is, again, it's as though, if you have not seen Hail Caesar, you should. But they clearly almost wanted to make like a Busby Berkeley like musical number where people are
Spellbound
doing
kind of shit. It's just, yeah, it's over the top.
It's so good.
What is a fucking bowling pin for fans?
And he's staring up the women's skirts, and then he hits the pins, and we see him running down the PCH. After the nihilists are running after him with giant scissors to cut off his Johnson.
Is Johnson.
Which the scissors
his
that they are
Johnson.
using are an exact replica of a painting that is in Julianne Moore's studio.
It is.
Earlier in the film.
Everything is pre-established.
Everything's
This
pre-established,
movie
yes.
is a masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece.
Oh, God help me. And the whole thing is that she wouldn't kidnap herself, or she wouldn't do this because these are people she knows. Everything is telling us that the dude is right, she kidnapped herself, except for the dude who at this point is afraid that the woman's going to die. And so when he's getting pulled over the side of the highway, this is where we meet the fucking fascist chief of police of Malibu, because he gets arrested and thrown in lockup.
But this is also where we see Bunny drive by.
Yes.
Right. So after the chief of police throws the mug at his head and gives him the bruise that we get from the end of this, he's in a cab going home and rubbing his head, and the Eagles' Peaceful Easy Feeling is playing, and he goes, man, I've had a long fucking day and I hate the goddamn Eagle. And the guy pulls over 6 lanes of traffic
Fucking
and throws
rips him out.
And that's when Bunny goes flying by in her like red convertible. And
Toes intact.
and I was going
Toes
to say,
intact.
Tarantino showed up for this one day because we see that she has all 10 toes.
All toes intact.
Also, I just love that the only ID that the dude has is his like
State
Ralph's
card?
is his Ralph's
Fucking
card.
Kroger Plus card.
Like, yeah, exactly. I've got my library card, man.
I want Bill Kunstler, man, or Kobe. Throws a fucking coffee mug in his face.
Everyone's seen that, though, right? Like, driver's license are acceptable. State IDs are acceptable. And you're like, what's a state ID?
The Publix card.
Tell me more.
That's right.
Right.
It's a Kroger Plus card.
I think that would just be a non-driver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
It's what we give to old people when they're not allowed to drive
Yeah.
anymore.
That's right.
Or people who don't have licenses because they were taken
Old
away.
people who
I've
then
never
vote
heard of
against
that
their
before.
Medicare. And then when he does make it home, this is when Maud goes, Jeffrey, love me.
Love me. Now we're
Love
back
me.
to loving Maud.
Also,
there's-
So now Matt can come back into the conversation.
I was watching this movie on my phone and I heard pitter patter of small feet coming, and I had a feeling something was about to go down. So I paused the movie, and it was the scene where she's like, he's looking up at her because he's still like messed up, and so she's upside down. And so my 7-year-old came in and he's like, "Mommy, why is your movie upside down?" And I was like, "Movie's not upside down. It's just a scene where he's looking up at her." And
He's
anyway.
fallen, yeah.
Anyway, luckily I paused it. So
I do like how
nothing happened.
He's on the ground because he tripped over his own entry.
Yeah, the doorstop.
And he goes, and he describes his life, and he was in Metallica. Well, he was a roadie on the Speed of Sound tour. He wrote the Port Huron Statement, which is a big deal, and he was part of the Seattle 7. Well, me and 6 other guys. What do you do for recreation? I bowl.
A bowl.
And he's just smoking a J. And at one point, he smokes it backwards so the flame goes in his mouth. And that's when he decides to get up, pull on his pajama pants, and make himself a White Russian.
That's
Like
what
you
he does.
do.
And then he makes his way outside. Because the beetle bug, that car that had been following him this whole time, he finally approaches it.
Yeah.
The brother Seamus.
Yeah, your brother Seamus. Although we should say too, the Maud starts doing yoga because it increases the chances of conception.
Of conception.
Spit take.
I do like him just.
Listen, you can't get pregnant if you're on top. Everybody knows that. Okay?
So gravity works.
That's true.
That's right. That's what Isaac Newton said. So the apple has to drop from it. That's right. But I like how he has a bar with like 8 bottles, but he just drinks from the vodka, the Kahlua, and the room temperature half and half, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Maybe it's
No wonder he's hallucinating.
unpasteurized.
Maybe no wonder he's hallucinating so much. The half and half has gone bad.
Jesus Christ.
Oh god! And this is where we're told that the dad is actually broke. Like he likes to look fancy, but the wealth was mother's. Yada yada yada. Vanity is father's weakness, hence the slut is the line, which is good. But this is when the dude figures it all out, which is that which I guess we'll get this in the car with Walter because he calls up Walter, even though it's Shabbos, which is a big deal. But he goes, look, there was no money in anything. You gave a ringer for a ringer. She kidnapped herself, and he just embezzled the money.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, again, this is where the dude figures it out, which, by the way, if you've not seen the movie,
Spoiler.
Inherent Vice. No, Inherent Vice. That's what this is. It's just the dude solving an actual mystery because this is such a good character.
It is listed under both comedy and crime. in IMDb's folder, because I was like, I wonder how this is listed. Comedy and crime.
But also, like, it's funny because it's just a crime so stupid that a stoner could figure it out.
That's right.
And a person who was just a level-headed, sober guy would have figured it out in 10 minutes, but because he's the dude,
It took us an hour
it
and a
takes
half.
him a 2-hour movie. And that's kind of why I love it, because it's where I would have been. I'm like, this is a page turner.
Oh shit! Hang on.
I think he's got it. Like, it's just so fucking funny. And also, the whole idea is that Walter is, obviously Walter is Jewish now, but he was not originally. He was fucking Polish Catholic, man.
Mm-hmm.
But he converted because of his ex-wife, Cynthia. And so, and again, it's this friend thing, which is that they have this connection. He calls Walter and he goes, Walter, pick up the fucking phone, man. Pick up the phone. And Walter does because he knows it's an emergency because the dude is calling him. Which is very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
They have good friends. But like you said, this is where we meet. The outside, the blue bug is there. The guy pretends to read. But it turns out that Bunny Lebowski, he's following a missing persons case because this girl was from Nebraska?
Some farm somewhere.
It's to me, it's just a reference to Fargo. Like she's in this like dirt farm in the middle of nowhere. But that she ran away from home, and the family hired him to find her, and she's chased him here. But of course, now she's a trophy wife. This is the Anna Nicole Smith thing that's going on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're officially jailbait housewives of Beverly Hills.
Goddamn right.
Not jailbait. She's 21.
Oh, I thought that she had to be a minor if her parents are finding a detective because she's a runaway.
We see her
no.
Not if she's
graduation photo.
missing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
She's missing.
Did
You can hire a detective to follow anyone, Matt. No matter how old they
That's
are.
right.
Are you trying to tell me something, Candace?
No, Matt. I don't know what you're talking about.
She's
there
just
a
like-
I just like
Seamus?
the idea of like detective pictures of Matt like reading a book on his couch. Like
She's just
Like
saying
in every
detectives.
detective photo, it's Matt reading a book. No matter
Listen,
where he's at, like
there's some-
Starbucks, School.
Is there
just the background is just a glass of water and him just like reading? This is interesting. Rick Riordan.
is there a Seamus outside the door?
Brother Seamus. Brother Seamus.
Wait, is
Brother
Rick Riordan
Seamus.
the one that wrote Percy Jackson?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Matt writes
good job.
fantasy. Yeah, I thought it would be appropriate. Brian Jacques, whatever his name.
Redwall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantasy. I mean, Matt, you do sci-fi fantasy. That's just fine. I mean, or it could be just the novelization of Debbie Does Dallas.
I only know Rick Riordan because I was at a thrift store and the books were sorted alphabetically by author. And I was like, I wanted to find Percy Jackson, but I didn't have my phone. And I had to awkwardly ask a stranger to Google it for me.
I thought you were going to say maybe you were like locked in a closet at his house or something.
Brother, I
No.
don't have the internet on me.
I actually don't remember why I locked myself in the closet. I don't know.
That's
Let
what
the record say this is not my closet.
The
drugs
mystery
begin to trickle.
deepens.
I'll have to ask Bob.
I mean, dearest Martha, could you tell me who wrote the Redwall books? My daughter is up to reading R.L. Stein. So
Oh, goosebumps. I'm living.
Very nice.
Redwall's a great series for a little kid.
I just listened to Required Reading. We did
How
an
about
episode on it.
Dragonlance? She's old enough she could read Dragonlance.
She's old enough.
Right?
She hasn't picked them up yet.
Okay,
She
all
does like the kind of creepy stuff. That's why
Okay,
I
all right,
referred
that's
her to
fine.
R.L.
Then
Stein.
That'll work. That'll work.
She likes Say Cheese and Die a whole lot. I mean, my mom still has a bunch of my old ones in the basement, and so like there's the man has written 7,000 books, so the well does not run dry. I just
the
imagine.
Writers Coalition of R.L. Stein.
I think him and King did cocaine together, and they were just trying to figure out who could write more in a single month.
I think King actually wrote all of his books. I mean, was there? I'm not convinced there was an R.L. Stein.
They're like in a book group together, and King's like, "I'll write your books for you," and he goes,
Yeah.
"But I have so many ideas about a puppet named Slappy," and he goes, "I'll tell you what, I'll
Wait,
write
I
them
wrote
down
that
for
book already. I'll find.
There's 8 of them.
Yeah. All right.
It was funny. I'm working on a book myself, and my daughter's asking how long it is, and so I'm measuring it in Goosebumps books. And
Are
I'm
you?
up to 2
It's 6
Goosebumps books right
yeah.
now. She's like,
If you cut out
"Ooh,
the
that's
fluff,
pretty
it's like
long."
12. Look, let's be okay. I owned like 40 Goosebumps books. I think I
course
read
you did.
4 of them. Right, like it was all about the illustration and just the prestige of the how many books you owned.
Of course.
Like-
I mean, you go to book fair, as you do.
Yeah.
You get
Your Lamborghini poster.
That's right. And you get a Far Side book, a Calvin and Hobbes book, or a Foxtrot book.
Hey, don't
And
forget,
then-
you might be a redneck if.
And the classic, the best, was the Guinness Book of World Records, of course. And
yeah.
then you get the Goosebumps books. And by the way, just for all of you, I just will say, go to library, go to whatever, and look at the back of a Goosebumps book to see which ones from your childhood they have reprinted. Because, of course, he wrote 250, 300, 400, 500 of them. And so, The Haunted Mask is still around in reprints.
Nice.
Say Cheese and Die is still around in
Yeah.
like Night of the Living Dummy. But then you have a gap because a lot of them are nonsense. And he just writes more and more. So they only have 20 in print at a time. And so like number 7, Haunted Mask, is still there. And I'm just like, you gotta get that one. I remember that one.
That's wild.
That one was spooky.
Yeah, the one that creeped me out the most was the one about the neighbor ghost little girl.
Oh,
Or
sure.
a little
oh,
girl.
God.
There's
What was
the
that one
like
called?
the kid sees a ghost.
Yeah.
It's a girl. Like I don't know. what it's-
No, I know. It was like something, the Night of the Haunted something.
So do you want to review like?
I'm not gonna
books?
say.
I mean, I'll do them all.
Let's just talk about Goosebumps.
Let's just talk
No,
about
just kidding.
Goosebumps. Because
I've never read a single Goosebumps book.
They're too
No,
spooky
really?
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
why I'm just kind of like sitting here
they're
listening
too
to y'all.
spooky.
You
for me.
and
I
his
was
eldest
into-
can have a book club.
That's right.
I mean, I will say that he did everything. He did
We're on
like
the same reading level, so that works out.
Actually, who was the one that wrote all the books about kids being kidnapped? It was a three-word name.
oh, you
John
mean
Wayne Gacy.
No, it was a girl.
Unsolved Mysteries?
Mary Higgins Clark.
Mary Higgins Clark wrote a bunch of books like that.
I read those. Oh my gosh.
So while I was reading Encyclopedia Brown, you were reading about.
I was reading Why Am I Missing? Or
I mean, when I was
Jesus,
8,
I don't know.
Mary Higgins Clark, right?
When I was 10,
I'm gonna look it up.
when I was 10, I read Jurassic Park, and after that, I read big boy books. Although I did switch with like alien books every now and again.
I was allowed to read Michael Crichton's Congo's reward for getting an A on a math test. I was in 3rd grade.
That's not bad. Congo's fine. I mean,
I only read comic books.
Look at you nerds that know how to read.
And that's
Jesus.
why I have thousands of comic books now.
I'm afraid of kids who don't read like you. Like you, Steve.
Look, I don't know how to read. I have an excuse.
Why did I read all these?
I never read real books.
Wasn't she
like
local?
as a kid? Like
On the street where you live.
Whoa!
2 little girls in blue, a cry in the night while my pretty one sleeps. Pretend you don't see her.
Jeffrey
All
Epstein's
through the
plane.
night.
Like it just goes on.
No,
like
I
this.
remember that they were all about like abducted kids, and like it was like stories of survival.
I think I know. I have an honest.
Is it to make you like not want to get kidnapped? Because this was the 80s. They were very worried about like us getting kidnapped.
I don't know. Why did
have
I
an
read
answer.
these?
I
I
have an
also read
answer.
Hank the Cowdog though.
I have an answer. She's from Georgia. She's actually local. You can run into her if you go to like.
I'm not from Georgia.
Oh, maybe not then, because like I've run into her at a store before.
Were you like, hey, why do you write all these creepy books about little kids?
No, I
being
went
kidnapped?
to like a
Was
whatever
her kid
Decatur Book
kidnapped?
Fest or something.
You get
And then-
around though.
What's
I mean,
up?
you get around though. I mean,
Round, get around.
Yeah.
I get around.
you get around. I mean, you've seen
gets around, baby.
you've seen Alton Brown at the Harry's Farmers Market, which
R.I.P.
God forbid.
Not Alton Brown, but the farmers market.
Yeah. It's
Dude,
even
the
there.
day Alton Brown goes, which I hope is a long time from now, I'm gonna make a very sad risotto one day.
It doesn't
Like,
even exist anymore.
with a,
what
with
a
a single
lovely.
tear in it.
It will be the salt.
That'll be
and
the
that's
salt.
It's just the Andretti's exhaust warehouse now. Like it doesn't even exist.
Christ on the cracker. They told me that they were like, "Oh, we're opening a new Whole Foods up in Candace. A Whole Foods in Candace."
A Whole Foods.
And I'm like, "Yeah, it's been there. That's where we went for like to buy the Christmas shopping or Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
The fancy food was the Harry's Farmers Market. Now it's gone.
They had the
Still love
fancy
that,
cheeses.
Harry's.
They had so
Pineapple upside down cake.
So this has nothing to do with the Big Lebowski anymore. But Publix even carries Reaper Pepper like Monterey Jack cheese now, right? Harry's was the OG Reaper Pepper cheese, and that shit was spicy.
Harry's Farmers Market had the shit, dude. And I saw Alton Brown and his wife arguing over what cheese goes in a salad. And you know what?
Now they're
he was
divorced.
like,
They are.
he was like hella spicy cheese. They got it right here.
So back to the film.
And that Harry's though?
In that little hair. There was
It was
only
the
one
only.
Harry's
It was
Farmers.
only one. It's gone now. It was.
I know it's gone.
It was
It's by
owned
the
by
movie
Whole Foods, and then it
tavern.
became a Whole Foods, and now
His
it's just
episode
gone.
all about popcorn was filmed at the plaza.
It was.
Watch it again. You can see it.
What?
It
Did they
opens
show
at
the
the plaza.
bathroom?
Well, it shows the front of the theater. You can tell it's them once they
Yeah.
walk in.
He does an episode on like
Yeah.
making oatmeal, and it takes place like there's a scene at my track at the school I teach at.
Nice.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude.
All right, so
My
we're back
biggest-
to the film. We gotta go back to the
Well,
film.
no, but before we get to that, I just want to share my biggest claim to fame is
Okay.
in Borat 2 when Borat is
There's a second Borat.
yeah,
Yeah.
Borat 2
It's not good.
Electric
and
Boogaloo.
he's convinced that the Holocaust was fake or something.
Yeah, he's
and he
playing
goes
that
to a
up.
synagogue. That synagogue is by my house.
Nice.
Yeah, he came here.
Like in real life.
Mm.
Yep.
There you
That's
go.
all. Yep, that's it.
Thank
We
you.
can continue talking
I
about Big
pranked an
Lebowski.
entire movie one time, but I should say that off mic so I don't get sued. We'll get there.
Yeah. All right, so we're back to the film.
So
Back to
after
film.
the Brother Seamus scene, they go back to the Big Lebowski's house. Walter shows up and drives him there. And at this point, we see that the woman who gave up her toe is Ula, one of the nihilist's girlfriend, which will matter at the end. They're ordering lingonberry pancakes. But they go to the Big Lebowski's house, and this is where the dude explains what's going on, which is what I said a minute ago. They find Bunny has driven in to the fountain. And what's an interesting parallel scene, because the Coens are great, they walk down the stairs, which is an opposite shot of the funeral at the end, which we'll get to. But they walk in, and Brett is talking, and he goes, so it looks like she fucking didn't even bother to kidnap herself, man. And Brett goes, don't go in there, dude. He's very angry. And this is Brett. This is the dude. This is Walter. This is the fucking dog. And Lebowski fucking puts up a "I was right the whole time" asshole front, which is So it turns out you did nothing, you bum. And then Walter gets fucking into it because at the end of the day, Walter is his Flava Flav, and he is fucking going for it.
And Walter fucking lifts him up out of the fucking wheelchair.
This man
He says,
walks.
yeah, he's like, also, I can tell this guy's not really not able to walk.
And you know what's funny? I've thought about this scene 1,000 times because I've seen this
That's
movie.
a lot of times.
Well, because is this supposed to make us like Walter or hate the Big Lebowski more? And it's so funny, A, that this movie is named after a minor character, the Big Lebowski. But at the end of the day, I think what it's supposed to show us is that he's a man and he's full of shit. Right? I think we're supposed to respect that Walter does anything for his friends. Go ahead, Steve.
They're all men and they're all full of shit. That's the point. That's the fucking point of the movie. Like,
that's why the only people with agency are Maude and Bunny, who we see traipsing naked in the background of this shot. She's frolicking naked by the pool because she has agency. Maude has agency, and these men
the rest
are just
of them are
stupid
just
idiots.
typecast stupid idiots just follow the script. I mean, that's what it is, right? They're doomed to follow their plot. They have nothing else in them.
And again, because dude has empathy, he goes, Walter, man, help me get him back in the chair. I do like the dog who walks up.
He's just laying on the floor, yeah.
Exactly. So then they head back to the bowling alley.
Which is
Fuck it, dude.
So 100 times. This is the first thing that I noticed, and I'll be honest, this is the first thing I noticed that I thought was smart. We've seen Donnie bowl 4 times. Every time he bowls, he gets a strike. This is the only time he does not get a strike. 1 pin is left up because he's about to die. Because the only thing we know if this is a bowling movie and a bowling team movie, you want the dude who always gets a strike. And Donnie always gets a strike. And the one time he doesn't means he's going down, man. He's about to Hamlet himself.
They head outside.
Eyeball to eyeball. And the thing is on fucking fire. Oh, God help me.
What I really enjoy is when Walter bites that dude's fucking ear off. Again, this was put out 1 year after Mike Tyson had just built Evander Holyfield together. Because he did that in 97.
And he's grabbing his ear and screaming, and Walter goes anti-Semite and punches him in the fucking jaw.
Yeah, he just.
I need that as a constant meme.
Yeah, this is the Walter finally just loses it. He crushes one of them's lung with a bowling ball.
And so it's so funny, like, if there's a love story in this, which really isn't, it's not. But if it is, it's the car, right? If you love something, let it go, it'll come back. And at the end he goes, they killed my fucking car, man! What's gonna motivate him? But they actually finally killed the goddamn car.
You're the rug man. It's the real love story.
Oh, God, it's just... It's funny because the dude has so little, and so he cares about everything. They took his car, they took his fucking briefcase, and
With all his important papers in it and stuff.
Has the cop has the bowling pin pipe that he's poking.
That's right.
He knows exactly what he's doing, and now there's a fire here.
But then the saddest part of the whole movie happens.
So they kick the shit out of the guys, and he goes, you could have the money. We'll take whatever's in your wallet. We'll call it even. And the dude has $7, and he goes, we're making off pretty easy, dude.
We tax the money.
And then Donnie has his heart attack, and this is where, again, the tragedy of Walter having his flashbacks comes in because he's calling it like it's Hill 364, which he says later. He goes, "Don't worry, man. The helicopters are coming in. They'll save you." And
he's saying call a medic.
Yeah.
Very sad.
I agree with all that.
And I mean, it's just what it is it's sad because Donnie, the passive character, has to die, which is how these movies. It's how a noir works. If everyone lives, your movie has no stakes. You have to have the threat of violence and death at all times. But it's funny because the two of them aren't fighters. The dude is a pacifist. Donnie obviously can't handle anything. Walter fights them all, and yet he still loses someone because Walter wants to protect his friends and can't, and that's the tragedy. That's his tragedy.
It's a nice foil though. It elevates those characters a little bit, on a moment that would otherwise mean nothing. Because Donnie in this movie otherwise means nothing. Like he's just there to be bait for everyone else.
And again, in a scene that must be parallel to what his actual PTSD is, he's cradling Donnie with blood all over him, and the dude is running back in because this is the scene after half the movie where he has a phone on him, where he doesn't have a phone on him. And then in the reverse shot that we had just a second ago, instead of walking down the stairs that the dude and Walter do, we have the mortician walking up the stairs, right? Because walking down is they're lowering themselves to the Big Lebowski's level. And instead, the mortician, this is a resurrection scene, so he's walking up to greet them. Right?
Look at you,
angelic scene.
You film nerds.
I know.
Fucking nerd.
I do like the dude just eating the candy the whole time.
That's right.
And Walter's like, just because we're bereaved, we're not saps! Which is just, that's how he grieves, clearly. I imagine him, this is the scene that 5 years earlier was the divorce proceedings.
That's right.
Just because I'm bereaved doesn't make me a sap. Like it's tight.
I grieve with pistol whips.
And they're arguing about the cost of an urn.
It's too
And so he
damn
decides
much.
to go to Ralph's.
That's right. It should be like $15,
Get a
right?
Folgers can.
So this is where I have the confession. I was in a drama class. Could you imagine me being dramatic?
No.
This was my monologue. Theodore Donald Carvasilis. Like I actually gave that was my monologue. The eulogy that Walter gives, that I gave before a class of 150 people on stage. Holding a Folgers
how
can.
many of them made eye contact? Like I'm picking up what you're putting
Who
down.
else was in drama?
The thing is, I'm a band nerd. I just took one drama class, and this was the one I did.
I also was in drama, and I did a monologue.
What was your monologue?
My monologue was from the end of Down with Love.
Oh, really?
It was Renee Zellweger's reveal, which is like a 2-minute long cuts.
Do you remember any of it?
No.
So in Clayton County, we didn't have drama club because we had no money. In
Right.
School.
Chemistry. We ain't got no
Exactly,
chemicals.
we didn't have chemicals, you right? And so I never did that. Even though for chorus I had like an audition piece, right? That's what I would consider my monologue. But just one time, in high school, our school decided to enter into the Shakespeare competition.
Ooh, sure.
And so I said that I could help out if anyone got sick, and someone did, and I filled in. And so I only have one monologue I've ever memorized, and it's for Tituba.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I played Tituba in the Scarlet Letter, or whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah. Scarlet Letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I had to talk about, the devil, and he brings me pretty dresses and white men.
Satisfies me, yeah.
Yeah. So, bad casting, but here you go. That's the one thing I've ever memorized.
There you go.
Yeah, the first thing I tried to do was Your Good Man Charlie Brown, where he's in love with a little redheaded girl and he tries to sandwich into a knot. But I was like, no, I have more classic literature than that. Theodore Donald Carvasilis was a good bowler and a good man. And a surfer.
It's a surfer. That's right.
The whole thing was, it feels improvised, which again is because John Goodman is a phenomenal actor. Let's get him an Academy Award. Because
this was the first time I felt he was scary.
He's everything.
Because he had always been in my mind a comedic actor up until this movie. And then when I saw him in this, I remember thinking, God, he is very legitimately scary. And that the way he would flip on a switch. My dad's a veteran. My dad flips on a switch. It's very accurate to the part, right? Like it's a little too accurate. And so, my dad's a great guy though, hashtag.
No.
Anyways, but it's one of those things that after he did this, when he started making the horror films and that kind of stuff, I was like, we gotta see this because he's gonna be great in it because he was so scary in this. I remember thinking he would be wonderful in a horror film.
What's a John Goodman horror film?
What?
Glover.
Oh yeah,
Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Cloverfield.
Lane.
Yeah.
Because Cloverfield is
Cloverfield's the monster one. There's Cloverfield Lane.
Cloverfield Lane is where he is a survivalist and it is scary. It is legitimately terrifying. Yeah.
Well, and I know
plus.
I know the non-vets too who like talk about that they were non but don't talk specifics, and that's what this is.
Yeah.
And it's that dry intensity because they just don't know. And again, this is supposed to be 91. It's maybe 15 years since he's been out of the service, things they carried. And there's still that intensity that he doesn't know how to process. Is why he takes it so hard when he lost another one, right? Because what's funny is, the dude could say something because he's the dude, but this is how he's going to let Walt get his anger out. And Walt talks about Nam and he goes, "What's the fucking travesty with you, man? Let it go." And he lets it go. And this is the only time we see real contact between him, and he hugs this poor man, right? Like, it's remarkable. I do like the joke where he just gets the dust in his beard. It's like
the ash coat just blows in his face.
Oh,
Ash
fuck,
blows in
man.
his fucking
Goddamn
face.
And
boys.
he's like oblivious to the fact that it's happening.
Well, and again, you bring it up. John Goodman is a big fat dynamo in this. The man is
That's
a fucking
right.
fate train. And when he's like, "I'm sorry, dude," and he bows his head, he looks like a child, despite the fact that he's 6'1,000.
Yeah.
And he's
He
love
also
him.
could not be in a tub unless apparently it's your slipper tub.
No, but it's like shorter than normal. So I really don't think a tall person would find
It's
it comfortable.
compact. It's very
Yeah, I think-
space efficient.
Like for me, it's perfect, but for somebody with legs,
They'll be amazed at how space efficient it is. Yeah, absolutely. I can wash one leg at a
I
time
love
perfectly.
John Goodman though. But I always I knew him mostly from Roseanne. Like that was my
Sure, of
first,
course.
and
course.
the longest. And Roseanne was always really cool for
Like,
me
what a
because it reminded
joker.
me of my family. Like, not like the typical sitcoms that you
No,
would see.
get you.
So
It has one of the all-time couches in all of TV history. You know what I mean? Like, no.
yeah.
I'm not joking. Like, you relate to a house.
So it's so iconic that for Felix's one night we did primetime TV as a topic,
Sure.
and I made them a sheet of 12 couches,
Oh,
an image
cool.
of 12, and you had to know the show based on the couch,
Uh-huh.
and everybody got it right.
Everyone knew Roseanne.
Everybody
Of course.
Yeah.
Because
Everybody
again,
knew
like,
that one.
it's Roseanne and The Simpsons, and like,
Yeah.
there's just something about the idea, because again, we're in my basement, we have the nice couches, the leather couches. I love them. They're not cozy in the way that Roseanne, like
No.
that mixed fabric, that tweed couch is, man. There's something about it. It's wonderful.
That couch is part of your soul. This
It
couch
is.
This couch is part of your butt. It's not part of your soul.
Yeah,
Though, you know what I mean?
you identify
Yeah.
with the couch, and
Yeah.
there's just something working class about that fucking
That's
couch,
right.
man. And you brought it up. The next movie, Oh Brother, he plays the corrupt Bible salesman guy, the Cyclops in the Odyssey, and he's an asshole there. But he's not scary here, because here it's a fear because he's defending his friends. The guy is an asshole, and he'll kill 3 people in that scene, but it's because he's defending his buddies. There's something very numb about that, and I love it. No, it's true. It's great. But after that funeral sequence, they go bowling again, and because our main character, the dude, has grown as a person, and again, if you're writing something, your character has to change. He doesn't order a White Russian. He gets an oat soda, which
That's
is a
right.
beer, a Mick Oat Ultra, I believe.
And Sam Elliott joins him again at the bar.
That's right. And
Curator's back.
and he closes the movie, and he goes, "I happen to know there's a little Lebowski on the way." And he goes, "Oh, I'm rambling again." And he goes the whole thing. Fucking hey, man. Send me dead flowers. That's the end of the song.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
We all need big bushy mustaches like that.
Yeah.
true.
All right,
In our life.
Matt, what's your final thoughts?
It's got a lot of cleverness, but it's also kind of slow, so I'm not really sure.
All right, everyone else has a better opinion. Keiko.
I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was a wild, wacky romp. I'm a big fan of those. So
Good.
watch it.
Steve.
Yeah, it was great the first 8 times. It was great this time. I don't have much else to say about it. It's super quotable. It's well casted. It's fun. If you've never seen it, spend 2 hours and watch it. It's great.
Yeah, every time I watch it, I like it a little more because I identify with a different storyline and a different character.
And I mean, just final thoughts, because I do these things. God help me. I love this movie, and I think it's been clear. But past the fact that I think it's just funny, this is what good screenwriting is. There's no wasted space. There's no wasted time. And like, if you're a writer and there's a scene that you could cut from the movie and it doesn't affect anything, you're doing a bad job. This feels like if you cut anything, you miss something about those characters. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's funny because so many of the stoner comedies, like I mentioned to a bunch of my colleagues and friends that I was watching this, and everyone was excited that I was watching this because, like, on I think it was on Turner Classic Movies, TCM maybe, or FX. There was some cable channel where they're doing a 420 Fest of Movies, and this was part of it. And this is one of those butt magnet movies where it's on, you just sit and watch it because you know the movie, and it's just fun. I have nothing bad to say about it, not because I'm not a critic. It's just that there's no fat here. The soundtrack is a masterpiece. We didn't really talk about it, but T. Burn Burnett nails it. The direction is fun. The characters are fun. And if you don't like get it, watch it again. I've never met anyone who saw it and didn't enjoy it, at least. So I would say just watch it. Because it's phenomenal. It's so strange, right? Like,
Just watch it.
It reminds me of Dazed and Confused, where like it shouldn't exist and yet it does, so we should embrace it.
Yeah, it's like it's like half baked with a little bit of like intelligent design behind it.
Dude, where's my car?
Yeah.
And it's the easiest cosplay in the world. So you can go to any convention.
Oh, love it.
And walk around in a robe and some shitty clothes and have a white Russian, and everyone will know immediately your deal. And that, everyone loves a simple cosplay.
Well, and again, like if there's something about this that doesn't click, I don't know what to make of you almost, like, because it's such like
you're like people who say they don't like dogs. Fuck you.
Right, because there's no ill will in any of this. Like, anyway, so the whole month we are going to talk about the Coen Brothers, and two people who have now since they're not retired, because you don't ever retire from this business. We talked about, I think it was just Joel who did Macbeth last year. But the two of them have not made a movie together in the last 3 years, and they're not planning to in the future. So we thought we would touch on some of the greatest to ever play the game. And so stay tuned next week and for the entirety of this month as we do more Coen Brothers pictures. And I've alluded to a couple things we're doing here, but I'll leave the rest up to grab, just so you can figure it out on your own and enjoy some phenomenal pictures. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Are you doing Raising Arizona?
Myopia Movies is a podcast production of Dude Letter Podcasting and is produced by Nick Hoffman. It is edited by Nerd Trinette and Daniel Sudis and is hosted by Nick Hoffman, with production assistance by Matthew Quinn, Daniel Sudis, and Nerd Trinette. The theme song is Surf Shimmy by Kevin MacLeod from Incomptech.com. Licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 4 license, Creative Commons /licenses by /4.0. Thanks.